Wake up in the morning with a big, big smile. That's how we got woken up at football camp by my football coach, who was the most intense man that I've ever met in my entire life. Once played for the Steelers, but that's how he would wake us up at 5:30 in the morning. And the guy was a wild animal. But yeah, I don't know. Just very, 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 very interesting person. But anyway, it is raining like a son of a bitch outside. I just recorded my episode of No Week's Notice with Ray Zawadny, my guest from last week. So again, if you haven't listened to that episode, definitely jump back and listen to that. But he hosts his own podcast called No Week's Notice, and the theme of it is you come on, you talk about jobs that you've had, terrible ways that you've quit, terrible experiences. But it was an awesome podcast. I'm not really sure when it's going to be released, but I was down in Carnegie. He records in Apis Meadery or whatever the hell it's called, but it started raining, okay? And it started raining so aggressively that the road filled up with water in a matter of 5 minutes. And, of course, just by my luck, I parked across the street down a block. So I had to wade. I had to cock the wagon and wade it, like Oregon Trail, and hopefully not die. But I had a decent pair of Vans on that weren't beat on yet. So, after waiting and hoping that it was going to die down, which it absolutely didn't, I just said fuck it and took my shoes off, and I was running around the streets of Carnegie barefoot. So luckily I didn't step on any dirty needles or anything. But the episode was awesome. Like, he has a really cool format for his podcast. And again, go check that out. It's available anywhere you can get podcasts. It's called No Week's Notice with Ray Zawadny. But enough about him. This week, I have a fantastic guest, my third female guest. And I know people think, I don't know if everyone thinks this, but I know a couple people that think this. They think that I just, don't have women on my podcast for a certain reason, but that is not true. I'm just a dude. I'm your typical, dude. I'm just friends with a bunch of dudes. So it's not that I, don't want to, expose great minds that are female minds. It's just, things will line up how they're supposed to line up. But me and Ashley have been trying to get together for the past, month. But, we both have busy schedules, so we finally did. But brings me to my next point. My guest this week, episode 24 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast. Her name is Ashley Corts, and she is one half of Black Forge Coffee House. Black Forge Coffee House is a metal, it's a coffee shop that is nothing like you've ever experienced. I'm not going to give you a lot of details on it because we talk about it pretty heavy in the episode, and I definitely want to sucker you into listening to the episode. So, I just got to dangle that in front of you like some fish. But we had a great conversation. I didn't know her beforehand. I knew what she did. She opened this coffee shop a few years ago with her buddy Nick, and it's a very interesting, different coffee shop. So I was curious to see where their idea came from, how they kind of manifested this and made it happen. They're just people that are my age, 28, and it always interests me to talk to business owners who said fuck it, rolled the dice, and made it happen. And Ashley and Nick opened this coffee shop, and it's doing so well. And I'm happy to do anything I can to try to expose what they're doing, whether it be to my few followers that I have now or not. But Ashley and Nick are working right now to open a second location of Black Forge Coffee House, and I'm going to leave it at that. Listen to the episode, get through it. We talk about all kinds of shit from, bad work experiences, oddly enough, all the way to how Ashley got into wanting to be in the coffee world and the music rock and roll world, and she's just a really interesting girl with a lot of cool stories. But I was really happy with our conversation. So without further ado, my guest this week on episode 24 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast, Ashley Corts of Black Forge Coffee House.
I gotta use the telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast.
Probably after this, I'm going to go out and have like a Prosecco to myself at Alla Familia.
What is that?
So Prosecco is like a sparkling wine. It's my fancy drink.
I mean, whenever you said that, it's like, I feel like I've heard that before, but I've never tried it.
Yeah, it's for suburban white moms.
Suburban white moms? That's funny.
But I love it. It's super great. It's good with like a good chicken dinner.
Yeah?
Like when I go to Butcher and the Rye.
Yeah. See, I've never been there. People have told me, I actually just heard about this A La Familia.
It's great, dude. It's
I started
expensive.
following a girl who does their pastries.
Yes.
Her Instagram name is Fuck Therapy, but her fucking pastries look crazy.
They're crazy. They're insane. They're so good.
Yeah.
And, no, they're super awesome, and I mean they're a huge reason why Allentown has literally anything.
Where's that at?
Alla Familia.
Yeah.
So Alla Familia is like 2 blocks away from us on Warrington.
Oh,
so
okay.
if you turn from our shop and go down a couple blocks
Towards
it's right
Work Hard?
Yes. It's
Okay.
like, you know where the beer distributor is?
Yeah.
It's like right next to that.
I had no idea that was there.
Yeah.
And they serve like a is it like nicer?
Yeah. It's definitely
okay.
nicer, but they just bought do you remember, I don't know if you were up in Allentown like a long time ago, but there was that Eagle Mart.
I don't know. I remember being like, I was there whenever like they started opening it.
Yeah.
But I don't remember like any of the
Yes,
places.
the Eagle Mart that was next to it was a grocery store. They bought it because it went vacant years ago. I used to buy toilet paper there like fucking so long ago.
No, that's not the Butcher. Isn't there a Butcher up there? Or like
There is Black Market Beef.
Oh, Black Market Beef.
And that's
okay.
like another block and a half down, right next to Work Hard.
Yeah. I can't remember all the places up
there's
there,
a lot.
but yeah, it's definitely getting built up more.
Yeah, but Alla Familia is great. It's definitely super high end. Like when you look at their appetizer menu or like their menu in general, there's like $1,000 meals and then there's like 10,
Jesus,
15.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I always like, they have these little pizzas that they give out for appetizers, and if you eat one to yourself, it's awesome. And it's like $15-$20.
Yeah,
So I'll
I mean,
get
like,
that and like
I like going to eat food
a glass.
at like nice places every once in a while.
right, and they're not judgmental. Like now that Allentown's kind of changing, we're like that weird cult of people coming in. Like
Yeah, very, very different.
so many people call us like a cult up there now. It's like, no, it's just all of our friends opened up a really cool
cult.
spot. Yeah. But yeah, they're very accepting of it, and like even their high classy like bar they have now, they've warmed up to the fact that like, yeah, average people can come here.
Yeah. That's I mean, I was never really familiar with that place. The only reason I even like kind of started going up there was because of like Buzzy and like all the shit that was going on at Work Hard. How did you guys decide on? You're good to go?
Oh yeah, I'm good, man. Sorry.
Okay. No, it's all right.
I was just rambling.
That's all right. I recorded it anyway.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, everything's good.
Good.
Everything's good. Before we even get into everything, so like I do this segment in the beginning. It's called "What's in the Cup."
What's in the cup?
Mm-hmm.
And I get every guest their favorite drink, just as part of I'm a guy who likes liquids.
Yeah,
like,
I do
breakfast.
too. They're like a happy thing to help with anxiety.
Yeah, like I just like at breakfast I'll have like a water, coffee, apple juice or like something.
Yeah.
Just have a bunch of shit, but you chose ginger ale.
I chose ginger ale.
You're a big ginger ale fan?
I am. It's one of those things from when I was a kid. It's a funny little backstory. I have a terrible phobia of vomiting. Absolutely. It's like the death of me.
Literally just talked about it on this last episode.
Really?
People asked why I don't drink, and that's why.
Yeah. I have the worst. Yeah, it's affected me since I was a kid. The last time I've only gotten sick twice in the last like 15, almost 20 years.
Literally the same thing.
And it was like a freak of nature situation.
I want to hear about it.
Oh, God. I go to a lot of therapy. I'll start with that. Okay. And my therapist that I have now, he's super great. And I remember when I first met with him, I was like, yeah, I have this crazy phobia of this. And he's like, you are the third person I've met of like 30 years in doing like therapy that has that phobia.
Really?
And we talk a lot about it because it's, it deals with control, obviously OCD, any traumatizing things, PTSD. But a lot of things contribute to that. But yeah, as a kid, I used to get sick a lot.
Yeah.
Then I remember begging my mom I didn't want to do flu shots anymore. That was the last time I got sick.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. No stomach flu, no nothing.
I've never, knock on wood again. I knock on wood all the time here because I've never had a flu shot.
Yep.
And like the last time I got sick, I think I was in probably 5th grade. I remember the food that I ate. I ate a sloppy Joe and tater tots
So
at my
you
buddy's
will never
house.
eat it again.
I eat it, but like...
Oh, no.
I eat it, but like it, because obviously it couldn't have been that because I ate sloppy joes 100 times whenever I was younger, so something was weird. But I fucking woke up in the middle of the night and just was sick, and like part of it for me that makes me like freak out is like not being able to breathe because like you can't breathe, and I'm just like, and I just would become like
absolutely
crippling.
Paralyzed. Yeah,
crippling.
No, that's the same thing for me. I remember the last time as a kid that I got sick, I ate mangoes. I had the stomach flu.
Mangoes.
And I was eating mangoes, and now I can't drink things with mango in it. Eat mangoes, nothing.
That's so unfortunate.
As an adult, again, like going down south side, you know how it is. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
There would be like a pile of vomit. I would go across the street, even if there's traffic, so I wouldn't have to cross by it. Same with, any bar situation, like even now where I am in life, I'm just like, no, 1 or 2 drinks, sometimes 3, but I'm chugging water in between each drink and like relaxing. Yeah,
I just don't know how I was never really a drinker, and it always stemmed from me not throwing up.
Yeah,
and it's like I'll have a beer now, and like I've been drunk probably a few times in my life, like probably 6, but like only twice where I was like vomiting, but I was like too fucked up to.
I have never thrown up from drinking.
I don't think it was like from drinking. I think it was because like, I mean, I guess it had to be from drinking because it was because of the spins. I laid down and like it fucked me up obviously, and I was just like throwing up. I was like, I ain't doing it no more.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's happened to me a couple times. I've never been like drunk that I never remembered. People are like, oh, I blacked out once. I'm like, I've never blacked out.
Yeah.
I've never been in those situations. I remember I got the spins once. Ugh. And that was the night of drinking Jameson and ginger. And I haven't drank it ever since. But ginger ale is what comforts me. So
that's understandable. So ginger ale, like that's the story.
That's my jam. That's my shit. Because it is definitely affecting me a bunch in my life. And like, now that I've been through so much in like my adult life and moving to Pittsburgh, that I reflect on a lot of things, and like the vomiting thing is one of those.
Yeah.
And the one thing that has truly cured me is being able to have, whatever kind of cannabis I can get to help with that. And like, I'm a daily smoker. That's how I get through my day. That's how I handle my stress. That's how I'm able to run a business. That's how I'm able to be a friend or a person. It's like, I found that, and I'm very fortunate for that, because again, it has helped me. Like, I've never thrown up from smoking.
Yeah.
If I ever feel nauseous, like I did earlier today, I was at the shop and just a lot going on, and I just smoked a little bit. Just laid down, closed my eyes, concentrated on my breathing. I felt a million times better.
It's incredible that there's still people that are like, oh, this is terrible. But you see, I mean, the one video that you could see on Facebook of like a little kid who's had like hundreds of mini seizures a day and like just take a couple drops of like cannabis oil and they're just fine. Like, that should be proof enough.
Like, I'm absolutely terrified of eating like mushrooms. I won't do mushrooms. I won't do any psychedelics. I won't do anything because I'm scared of that feeling of like feeling anxious and nauseous and not being in control. Because
Yeah.
like when I smoke, like I'm a flower smoker days in, days out. Because it's a ritual for me, and I can feel it and I can stop myself. And that's when I know, like, I'm in control of this. This is how I want to feel.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, I'm good.
Yeah, and if you drink, it's like you go down the south side and you get a mixed drink, and like, luckily for me, I'm a little bit bigger, so like it's just I could drink like 6 drinks and not be
I've never
destroyed.
had 6 drinks before.
But like sometimes you just don't know. It's like it'll just affect you a different way. But I completely get it.
That's amazing. Hell yeah.
I get it. For
I
sure.
love meeting someone that deals with the similar anxieties. And a lot of things too, with this phobia, I found out that it stems from like no one has the same story as why it happened.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
think it's really interesting.
I think I don't even know why it happened to me. It's just like I don't like just have the feeling in my stomach. Like I don't
it's definitely not enjoyable. I mean, there are people weirdly
there's
out there
sick
that like
fucking
it.
people.
I know.
I remember watching Ripley's Believe It or Not
Oh, no.
a long time ago, and this dude made artwork out of his own vomit.
Nope.
He would
Kill
drink,
me now.
He would drink colors.
Kill me now.
And it was like it was nothing. Like and I'm just like, dude, like you could not pay me to make myself do that. Anyway, regardless about all this vomit, please introduce yourself.
So, my name's Ashley Corts. I am 28 years old, originally from Rochester, New York.
Okay.
I moved to Pittsburgh in 2008 because I got a scholarship to go to college. I could have picked from hundreds of film schools, but I just decided to choose the Art Institute of Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah? What was your experience of it? Did you like it or did you dislike
honestly,
it?
I just remember when I was looking for schools and I saw Pittsburgh, I applied and they said yes. I drove here, and coming across the Veterans Bridge has stuck with me ever since. Like that moment, I was like, I want to live here. This is perfect.
Super powerful.
And I remember I stayed at the Green Tree Hotel right there. Walked to the Art Institute when it was in the original building.
Yeah.
And just like absolutely fall in love with the city. I didn't know anyone besides like, MySpace days. Like you're friends with everybody from everywhere. So I knew a couple people through MySpace that lived in
MySpace
Pittsburgh.
names and stuff.
I was Whoa Ashley.
That was your MySpace name?
Whoa Ashley.
My nickname has been Strawberry since like 6th grade.
Nice.
It's and mine was Strawberry.
Strawberry.
And like all my friends, like they all had different ones, and like those were how you knew people. Like my first job, I knew a girl, and I was like, you're this girl from I said her MySpace name. And she was like, oh, I know your MySpace name. And I was just like, that's how
we all connect,
and
man.
now it's Instagram names.
Yep.
Because like I'll ask people, I'm like, I don't know if I met you. What's your Instagram name? And as terrible as that is, it's just like the way it is now.
That's how we stay connected, and like with the way society is, you have to connect things to visuals most of the time. A lot of us are very critical in that sense.
Yeah.
And I know that's how I am. That's how I operate. That's why like I went to film school and I came to Pittsburgh, and what I do now is like I'm a very visual person. But yeah, like when I moved here and I got accepted to the Art Institute, I lived in the dorm rooms for a couple of months. That is where my anxiety stemmed mainly from. Oh my God, living with people and like
what was
weird.
your roommate like? Was it
honestly
not...
all my roommates I'm still friends with.
Oh, that's
like
good then.
I don't think any of them still live in Pittsburgh, but we still keep in contact. They were
Fuck
super
my first
great.
roommate.
Really?
The worst.
Oh, mine were great. Mine were super great.
My
we're all
first
weird
roommate,
kids.
I went to Slippery Rock for a year. My first roommate, Dan Schumacher, shot him out because he was a fucking asshole. I had friends that came up and they brought the big bottle of Sky vodka. So they brought this bottle of Sky vodka, didn't even drink, probably had 2 shots of it or whatever. And I just had this fucking bottle in my room with probably like less than a cup, like a metric, or like a serving size. And this guy told my RA on me, and my RA was super cool. She was like this older girl. She was like, yeah, your roommate told me you got alcohol in your room. Like, you just can't have it in there.
What a narc.
And I was like, bro, like, and this dude had like, now I have nothing against like Disney or anything like that, but this dude had Disney posters up, and like, he was like a straight up like I love Harry Potter a lot.
Yep. This
dude was like, went to Harry Potter, had like a newspaper clipping from Hogwarts, but it was his picture, like a little bit too far. But I thought, hey, I mean, like, I had no problem with him. I wanted to be cool with him, but he was just a fucking dickhead.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just don't roll with that. I like good vibes of people.
Yeah. No, I'm totally the same way. I'm a total recluse when it comes to that, but I need a vibe with good people for me to come out. And my college roommates were great.
That's good.
I honestly, like, when I was there, I think I was there in the prime moments of being in an art school.
That's what I was gonna ask, because like I hear a lot of like negative reviews of it now.
Honestly, in the film department, I loved every single one of my professors. Every professor that I had was very inspiring, always willing to help you. And our classes were like 10 people, so like being a hands-on person, it was really easy for me to learn and to be visual and like do storyboards and like work within my groups. I didn't have any crappy kids in my classes. Like, there were obviously students who were way better than others because they're older or whatever. I was freshly 18 when I started school. So I had a lot of life experience at a young age, especially, being thrown in Pittsburgh, not knowing anybody, and just like kind of figuring yourself out. And like all of my friends were drinking and doing this and doing that. I was like, no, like I don't drink. Like I stayed in my dorm, worked on stuff, got creative because I didn't have a budget. I didn't have money. Like my parents helped me out here and there, and then I had to work at a shitty law firm.
For sure.
In the basement pulling
files
and stuff to make $7 an hour. I was like, whatever. I don't have to be around people, and it's right next to the school, so I did that. Then I worked at Forever 21.
Oh, how was that?
It was awful.
I bet it was
awful, but I did that for a while, and then I started working at a coffee shop called Asylum. No, I worked at Asylum before that, but that was in Uptown.
I've never heard about that, I don't think.
Yeah, like...
How did you? Well, first of all, how did you even get into all this? Like, how did you become like into? How did you know you wanted to go to film school? You always been into like movies and stuff.
So, fun fact: growing up in Rochester, New York, my entire family worked at Kodak.
Oh yeah,
my entire family.
That's wild.
So, like, with my grandparents and my parents all working at Kodak, they were heavily involved in the film industry.
Yeah.
Of doing whatever they did, and they always brought home cameras. They were always my parents are like very alternative, very chill, like non-judgmental whatsoever. My dad's a huge metalhead. He supports everything that I do, and so does my mother.
Your coffee shop.
Oh yeah, so does my mother. My mother is like my biggest supporter. She's fucking awesome, and so that really inspired me as a kid. And then we grew up very, very lower middle class. Yeah. And, they would get me a camera when I could. They would give me the disposable ones. We go print them. And then, high school comes around and I'm taking black and white photography and film classes and media classes.
All the teen angst is just like oozing.
And I loved art. Like, I didn't really have a shitty, like, school experience growing up. I did get bullied a lot. Like elementary, middle school. I was a lot darker than everybody else, and my parents put me in Catholic school, and they're not religious whatsoever, but because we lived in the city of Rochester, we lived on the beach, that was the best schooling option for me. So they sent me there, and I definitely think a lot of the reason who I am today is that was the start. I got bullied a lot for being darker. They would call me Sacagawea.
Really?
I was like, I'm not Indian or Native American to be specific, but I'm just like, what the hell? Like, as a kid, I'm like, what are you being so mean to me for?
Idiot young kids.
And, when I hit 7th grade, I told my parents, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't get along with these people. I don't want to be this way. Like, I like listening to metal music and like being my own person. And, at the time, it was like listening to Cradle Filth, but also I listened to Good Charlotte. So it was like a lot of weird stuff going on.
Like emo punk with some metal.
So they allowed me to make my decision, and they're like, if you want for your last, year of that, you can go to the city school. Try it out. Hated it because I got beat up all the time and my lunch money stolen from me.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was not good. I didn't learn a single thing in 7th grade.
Why were people beating you up? Just because you were new?
I don't know. I honestly do not know. I spent most of my time hiding because I was a total, like, picture me in big black, like UFO pants with chains on them, Slipknot shirt, like black eyeliner all the way down my face. I was one of those kids. That was my goth phase.
Yeah.
Because that was when I was like, I don't have to wear a uniform anymore. And I
so
can
you
be
got to do
whatever I
you
want.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I wanted to be.
Going into 6th grade, I remember wearing big ass Janko pants, black and red audio shoes, and like this Janko shirt. And it's like, I embraced everything that I was back then. I loved it. In that moment, I was like, this is fucking dope. Like dragons with skulls and 8 balls on the back of my pocket and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. I think about this all the time. Like, I wish I just had more photos from back then.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
I have photos of like woods and like weird creepy things I took pictures of when I was like, that age, but I don't really have any of myself.
I wish I was still able to get to my MySpace, like my original one, because like I really would love to see my wife's. I've never seen my wife's yet, but she was like a heavy like MySpace person, and it's just gone. But like
I was a scene queen.
Oh yeah,
I was one of those. But
I mean, imagine like how those kids will just never know what MySpace was.
Right.
Like these younger kids now, they're like, oh yeah,
it
Instagram,
was such
Snapchat.
a great time to be alive.
And it was so much better because there were still boundaries. Like you couldn't be on it all day in school. Like I was like one of the last ones of my friends to have a phone. And like the phones back then, like they didn't have the internet. And if you did have the internet, my fucking parents would lose their mind if I even hit it on accident.
Right.
You hit that internet button, you would hit end a bunch of times and like hope it didn't like register.
Yeah,
but
my parents, they kept a very, very close eye on me with a lot of things because they didn't want me to be corrupted. They wanted me to work hard for what I wanted and to appreciate all the things that are around you because they understood that times were changing. So
were they real strict or were they still like kind of cool?
They were pretty strict. So like once I started getting into the realm of 8th grade, my parents had to move to keep me to move me to like a suburban school because the city school wasn't working for me. So they like made such a huge drastic change in their life so I could go somewhere else. And I did that. I was a total turd. And they started, grounding me more often. Like I got grounded all the time because they were like, oh, like don't lie, do your chores, do this. And I would always tell like stupid lies.
Dumbass shit.
Like my cousins lived down the street from us and I'd be like, oh, I'm going out with my cousins. And they'd be like, Ashley, don't go near the Genesee River. Remember that where that dude killed all those prostitutes? Don't go down there.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so that was like near our house kind of. Ugh. And I was like, fuck that, Mom. Like I'm going to go down there. And she would know, right? Like she knew. And I would be grounded for 6 months. So actually, ever since I was a child, I have never had a birthday party because I was always grounded.
And do you have a summer birthday?
I have a May birthday.
Oh yeah,
May 5th.
So you were the summertime, and that's when you'd be grounded.
Oh yeah, I was grounded every year, and I went to a Greece school. We lived in Greece Township, and I went to Greece Arcadia and Greece Olympia.
Oh yeah,
they played it out that way. It was pretty much just all like suburban families. It was pretty cool.
You liked your new school though?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I had a lot of friends. Then I got into high school, and high school was decent. I mean,
could be worse. Like my high school, like I loved high school. I was not a jock, but like I was captain of the football team. I played football, and like that was like my life. But I was like always hanging out with the skater kids and like, didn't dress in like the Abercrombie and Aeropostale and shit. But
same.
I was just like friends with like all different cliques of people.
Yeah, I wasn't like super out there with like making friends. I did have like a good group of like friends and acquaintances in high school. Like there were the jocks and people, but I didn't hang out with that crowd. I was more with like the artsy kind of loser kids, but there were a lot of us. And
roll deep.
Yeah, seriously.
Gotta stick together.
But honestly, I loved high school and the fact that I wanted out so bad so I could go to college. I wanted to go to art school, of course.
You knew that you wanted to go?
Yeah, I knew. I didn't know exactly for what at the time, but I was like, I'll go for graphic design or I'll go for this. But then I chose film. Yeah. And I even went to summer school like for the last couple of years so I could take all the classes I didn't want to take during the year and fill it with art classes.
Oh, that's cool.
So we had
Get
the
all
option
the bullshit
to do
out
that.
of the way. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, that's cool that you got into it as far as like because you were like more probably more into cameras rather than movies. Like I was never super into cameras, but like I was always just into movies, like just watching movies, like how things were made, like the special effects. Like I was always like super heavy into
my dad's a huge movie buff. I mean, metal buff, everything. He's crazy about all things awesome. And
that's so cool.
My parents divorced when I was very young, but I would spend the weekends with him, and like I grew up watching Star Wars on Laserdisc, like on repeat.
Jesus.
I remember Mars Attacks was like the first terrifying moment of my life.
Such
like
a good movie. Yeah.
I did not like that sound. If people do that around me, I'm like, oh, it gives me the heebies. But I grew up doing that and playing video games and all of that. It was great, and like both of my parents were heavily influenced by music.
That's awesome.
And where we lived on the beach, we lived right behind a music venue called the Penny Arcade.
The Penny Arcade.
It was a heavy metal bar venue. It was awesome. And that is a huge influencer too. Like when I got into high school, that's where I hung out.
Yeah.
And I started playing with the light board there. And like all of my friends were in bands. My parents actually would allow me to go out on the weekends or small runs with this band called Burn the City at the time. They were a hardcore band.
Oh yeah.
They used a lot of those skits from Anchorman.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was so funny. You remember that was the cool thing for hardcore bands to take skits from like stupid movies.
Absolutely.
And like,
or like
the arsonist has very whatever flat feet or whatever.
Yeah, unique New York, and it would just be like some crazy breakdown.
Right. That's what they did. Best. So those are like my buds, and we went to New York City. We did like a month-long tour, and
you were a show rat though? Always at shows?
Oh, I was always at shows. Yeah. Always.
I remember like, were you around whenever like Club Octane? Do you remember that?
I remember right when I moved to Pittsburgh, it was 2008.
Yeah, because that was right at the end of it.
Right. I went to one show there because the band See You Next Tuesday was playing, and like they used to play at the Penny Arcade all the time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I went down to that show at Octane. That was the only time I was ever there.
Sykes just told me that they got back together for the one, it was like the Brew Festival or whatever.
Yeah, and they played Brutal Beer Fest, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was telling him that my buddy Brandon had the CUNT just on the black hoodie.
Yeah,
and,
I had
his grandma threw it away. She hated it.
I had bright red like booty shorts that said "I love cunt" on it, and I was like, "This is the best." And I wore them all the time until they literally ran thin.
That was the best part for me. That was the best part of the music scene because like
the merch was ridiculous.
The merch, but like I loved like all the culture of it. Like the music for me, like I could never really like understand the lyrics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would get into it. I was never one of them ones that were like fight dancing or any of that dumbass shit. Like I couldn't do that. But like I would be into the music. We would always be in shows. I had friends that were always in bands. I never played any music, but like I was just, I would go hang around with them. But I it's just like back then, all them shirts that said like, all them fucked up slogans. Like my last MySpace picture, you can Google it. It's still like my MySpace will still come up, but it says private. It's an Acacia Strain shirt, and it says, if you want to stop swine flu, stop fucking pigs. And then there's other ones. Like
I still listen to the Acacia Strain all the time.
I'm not as heavy into like the heavy music anymore. It has to be like, I'm more like, I'll go back. Like the other day I was just jamming Legia again. Yeah. And it's like, I can never like stop listening to that old stuff, but it's hard for me to get on to the newer heavy music.
Yeah. I kind of, it's those occasional waves that I go through, and I listen to a lot of different music.
Yeah.
Like hardcore, not so much, but that's what like, that was on what I was on the road with. Like when I was on the tour with this band, Burn the City, we were on tour with I Wrestled a Bear once and Ligeia.
Oh, okay. I remember.
And like,
oh shit, really?
Yeah, so like
Jesus.
we did that stuff.
Probably my favorite, probably one of my top 3 favorite bands is Legia for sure.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It.
That's awesome. Yeah, they were fun. And talking about the merch too. The Burn the City shirt, that was like the last cool one they released. It said "Fuck my life. Burn the city."
Oh man.
That's where I feel like FML really started, like right at that cusp, and they printed those shirts, and it was the coolest fucking shirt.
Yeah, I loved any shirt that said like "fuck" on it, or like had a cool picture of like something fucked up. It was back in the day where like all that music made you hate your girlfriend because if she cheated on you or if she did mean things. It's like I was in that phase where like we were listening to like all these fucked up lyrics and Bring Me the Horizon, like.
See, and that's where I started falling out of it. I have never enjoyed Bring Me the Horizon.
Never.
Once the hardcore like heavy music scene started turning very bubbly and poppy in a sense, like Bring Me the Horizon came out with shirts with pink bears on it with their heads ripped off. You know,
I
like,
get what you mean.
You know,
like
the
neon
Johnny
colors and everything.
Cupcakes,
Yeah.
like kind of. I mean, that dude kills it, but like that
he
kind of
kills
thing
it.
where things started getting like bright and singy. I didn't like that, and that's kind of like I still listen to like the Acacia Strain, Amir,
Yeah.
and
Amir was
stuff
so
like
good.
that. But I also was an emo kid at the same time. Like I listened to a lot of My Chemical Romance and Fall Out Boy, and that kind of got me back into, you know, also listening to a lot of heavy metal. I just like crossed all those things together. And now as a 28-year-old, I drive in silence, listen to meditation music every moment that I can. I listen to metal all day at my shop. That's like it. And then like the occasional time, because like I'm jaded now when it comes to going to concerts. Like I've been to millions because I worked millions of shows, and it has to be very special for me to go.
Yeah, like a concert that you actually like want to see. The last show that I bought tickets to, that I was like pumped about going to see, was like brand new, and who did they come with? They were at Stage A. They were with someone else, an older band. Regardless, but it's like I wanted to go see brand new. But like I really don't go to any shows anymore, and it's like we were for, I mean, my whole high school career. It was a weekend, we would go find a garbage show.
Yeah,
and it was like if one of my good friends didn't have them. Do you remember Eyes of Seeing the Glory?
Yeah,
it's like I was best friends with all those kids. If they didn't have a show, someone else we knew was having another show,
right?
And you would just go and you would get to like see all the. It was like gym class with like all the MySpace kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was like the girls that would be lined up against the wall. All the dudes would be like just running around. You would see like the kids that were like well known for those shows, and I don't know, that held a high standard as far as MySpace world.
Right.
Interesting for sure. That's cool though with the whole film thing. So you enjoyed art school.
I did right up to the end. So right up towards the end, that's when I was like working in coffee shops, and I started. So my best friend Jamie, who was now my best friend, I hated her when I first met her.
Yeah.
But after living in the dorms for a little while, I moved on to 12th Street in Southside. I lived in this shitty corner apartment, and there were people who lived above me who just partied all the time.
It's
and I am
fucked up.
like 19, 20 at this age, just grumpy and angry.
Yeah.
Trying to do my whatever projects I had to get done and blah, 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 blah. And they were just partying upstairs. And I would like be the old lady downstairs with the broom, just like, shut up.
Yeah.
Come to find out, this girl is Jamie. And
Now your best friend.
now my best friend. We were going to film school together, but we were in like different classes.
Yeah.
And she worked at Diesel, and she
Okay.
was the lighting designer there. So we started becoming really close friends. And she's like, hey, were you ever interested in doing lighting? I was like, you know what? You know, that's kind of what I really enjoyed when I was at that venue. The Penny Arcade is like, even though it was like 5 buttons, I'm like, yeah, like
it's
changing
still-
the colors and stuff.
That's cool.
I got creative with it, and people were like, wow, it really makes a difference, because like forever they just keep the lights on. They
Yeah.
wouldn't do anything with them. So I took the opportunity and started working at Diesel with Jamie. From there, we went to Altar Bar. From there, I was offered the full-time position at Mr. Smalls, and I still filled in at Altar Bar, and I was also doing Carnegie Music Hall of Homestead.
Oh, okay.
So between us two, we were rotating within all these venues. And I started at Altar Bar, I think, like 2010. So I was there until it ended.
Yeah.
And
I love that venue.
yeah, no, I did. I mean, it was shitty.
It definitely was shitty. but
Garbage.
There's not too many around here that are
But
like,
it was special.
that are like kind of like a medium.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's Smalls and there's Stage AE, and I feel like that those two are kind of in the same like Smalls is
Yeah.
like not as like shined up as like Stage AE.
Right.
But like Stage AE is like you could put bigger name people there. But like there's not really too many like small venues now.
Yeah, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but that's why Nick and I do the things that we do.
Yeah.
And why we're trying to do so much more. But Yeah, like back to what, mid 2000s.
Back to a decade, mid.
Yeah, like altar bars, smalls, and then I started freelancing for like bigger corporate companies. So at this time, I was working at Crazy Mocha every single morning, and then working a show almost every single night.
Probably a pain.
And at 20 to 22 years old, I was like, this is okay. This is my life, but I know eventually I have to be an adult and I want to stay in this realm.
Yeah.
So I took on a job with a production company, which I won't name. It's fine. But
Okay.
I did that, and I was like, cool, I'm going to get a salary. I'm going to get a 401k. I'm going to have health benefits. I'm going to do all these things and still do awesome shows. Like I was lighting Obama when he was doing his campaign stuff.
That's awesome.
I was doing ballets. I was doing corporate Verizon gigs, like all this stuff. And it was really great. I'm like, cool, like I could take a break from the rock and roll world and do this corporate hoo-ha. Well, the people that I worked with weren't super great, yada, yada, yada. I've told this story a handful of times. It's a really long story, so I won't get into it.
That's fine.
But yeah, this group of people that I worked with, they really fucked me up. They told me that I was a lazy worker and I was an alcoholic. Obviously, again, back to the weird vomiting thing. Like, how could I be an alcoholic?
Yeah.
Telling my boss that I was sleeping with them. I was the only female that worked there in the warehouse.
Yeah.
A lot of crazy stuff happened. It's so hard to remember all of it, but I now have PTSD pretty bad from it, and it like affects me on a daily basis every single day. And like when this happened, it ruined my social pride that I had of like being this fun-loving person and working all the time and doing all these things.
Yeah.
Going through all this and reporting it and trying to make a case of everything going on. I eventually ended up filing a lawsuit for sexual harassment and discrimination, which I didn't think was possible because I was like, oh, you know, people say things and just brush it off, and it started getting worse and worse to the point like I had to drive to Youngstown, Ohio every day for work, and I would work 20 to 30 hour days sometime, like all the way through.
Jesus.
And I sucked it up and I did it, and I didn't complain, but I would cry like right before I got there because I'm just like, I don't want to be here. Like, I don't want to be threatened today with losing my job for no reason, or threatened that I have to sleep with somebody, or threatened that like I look fat in my pants, or I'm not sexy enough anyways. Like hearing these things from men who are supposed to respect you.
Yeah. It's like it's difficult to work that long.
Yeah.
Let alone if you have a good boss, like 40
right.
hours
And
a week.
honestly, you know, like I was hoping that it was just kind of like a phase, because especially in the rock and roll world, you know, the music industry is a very male dominated industry. And honestly, out of all the years that I've been working in the rock and roll world, maybe a handful of times did somebody say something disrespectful. And I was like, hey, that makes me uncomfortable. Please don't say that.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And that's it.
People are usually, I mean, I'm sure there's a dickhead every once in a while.
I mean,
like,
for sure. But
if you tell someone some shit, I'm sure that some people will appreciate you letting them know.
Yeah. And like, honestly, like being a lighting designer isn't just, you know, flashing buttons. It's building rigs. It's making plots. It's loading and unloading stuff. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's a lot of power to like be in that position, and a lot of mental strength and physical strength. And when I was going through that, it wore me down to the most emotional point that I've been as an adult. And I faced a lot of things that I didn't want to face, and didn't think it was possible to deal with that like in a corporate environment.
Yeah.
But I did, and I filed a lawsuit, and it took me 6 months to get a job after that. I lost everything. All of my savings was gone. I could barely pay for food. Like, this is the worst I've ever been as, you know, somebody, because I was making a good amount of money when I was like working at a coffee shop and lighting shows. I was like, hey, I could pay my bills. I went to IKEA like once a month, treated myself. You know, I was doing decent for a 21-year-old.
Yeah, for sure.
And
this happened when you were 21?
Yeah, 21, 22.
Yeah, and people could just like, since you're young, like it's easy to take advantage of people.
Right. And like right towards the end of the lawsuit and everything, I mean, that's a little forward, but going through this lawsuit and everything, I found a coffee shop job again, and I was filling in whenever I could do shows at the venues I worked at previously, because obviously, of course, like leaving all those, people filled those jobs.
Yeah.
And they didn't need me anymore as a full-time lighting person.
Yeah.
So I could take a gig every once in a while. I started getting back into it, and I worked at this crappy coffee shop, which the owner was super great, and he's a huge reason why we're open today too. But I worked there, and I had this idea of just like, I'm so sick of being fucked over. Like when I claimed unemployment and everything, because like going through the lawsuit, they wouldn't take unemployment from my salaried job, which wasn't even salaried, so they kind of lied to me.
Yeah.
I was making $13 an hour for the work that I did, no overtime. And
Jesus.
when I went through unemployment, they're like, oh, well, we have to do your unemployment from your last like full-time job or something. It was something weird. So I was making like $100 every 2 weeks from unemployment or something like that.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it was really bad. And like, I mean, a huge reason why I couldn't find a job either is like, I literally, when I went through this, I went to work my last day, and we were supposed to have a meeting with everybody about HR stuff, like how to not sexually harass your employees and how not to do this. And like, we need to be open about these things and stop, like, this is supposed to be a family, right?
Yeah.
And they fought for me to be there. They wanted me so bad that they're like, we'll give you an advance and like help you out and blah, 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 and make this work it. And I truly felt that I was part of a team and a family. I don't know what happened, but my last day, we're supposed to have this meeting. Going through the meeting, I'm like pale white, just like waiting for it to talk about this.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, meeting's done.
Really? Didn't
and
even
I stood
address
up,
it.
went outside, and dry heaved. I almost threw up just because like all of my emotions just came out. I was like, how the fuck can you do this to me?
Yeah, I bet.
And I mean, lo and behold, sometime later, I don't remember that full day, but I was like, I can't be here anymore. Like, I keep getting harassed. Like, the one kid put fireworks off underneath my car. We're all working. And he set off fireworks underneath my car. I'm like, dude, you could have blown up my car. And everyone was like laughing. I'm like, it's not fucking funny, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, side story to that. That's also when my foot was broken. I was on a gig with this company, and there's these bases that are like a good 65 pounds.
Yeah.
And we're loading them out. And the one kid that was head of the project was like, stop being such a pussy, like, hurry up, let's move faster. And I can overhear him talking to our client about how I was apparently having sexual relations with this one coworker that I had. And it was just making me so upset because he's talking about this in front of people.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, it's not even true. It's not true at all. But yeah, like I got super upset, and I threw this 65-pound base into this cart that it's supposed to fit in, but it like slipped through the cracks, landed on my foot, and broke my foot in half on the fucking spot.
Up.
And I laid there, and I was like, fuck. Oh my God, what the fuck am I gonna do? My foot's broken. Like, it has to be broken.
Yeah.
And I was wearing steel toe boots that day, and it just missed a steel toe.
Ugh.
And I stood up, and I'll never forget the sound or the feeling. My foot just went, and I fell on my face. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get up, get the fuck up. I'm like, my foot's broken. They're like, no, it's not. You're just being such a pussy. Like, suck it up.
Yeah.
So I literally laid on my stomach on these road cases, pushing the equipment out, just pushing it out. And I laid on the floor. I'm like, I can't help you. And I'm like, he's like, you gotta help me load the truck. I'm like, I literally can't. Like, I can't put weight on my foot. And I was like, I have to go to the hospital. I have to go. And I was like, you have to call me an ambulance. He did not call me an ambulance. He refused to.
That's ridiculous.
So I drove myself to the hospital. And I got to the hospital. They had to cut off my pants. They had to cut off my boot. My foot was like fucking, you know, like when something freezes in a bag.
Yeah, expands.
And then you smack it in half. And it's just like, bleh.
That is the
That
worst.
was my foot. And I had to get surgery a couple days later. But I took off only for the day of my surgery, the day after. I was back to work right after that because I had so much going on. And my boss at the time, I called him. I was like, listen, this is what's happening. He's like, well, are you going to file workman's comp? And I was so scared to do it I was so scared because I'm like, I just started here.
Yeah.
You know, like this is supposed to be a really important thing for me. I'm going to show them that I'm not a pussy because apparently I'm a big pussy.
Yeah.
And I didn't file workman's comp. And I said that it happened outside of work. And I lied.
That's a shame. That's people that have been in for a while taking advantage of younger people.
Yeah, and I went back to work. And first of all, let's talk about the fucking surgery. I was so scared. I was like, I asked them multiple times, could I do an epidural? I did not want to go under anesthesia. I've never done it before.
Yeah.
I was scared I was going to throw up.
Yeah.
And I was fighting them in the room.
Oh, I bet.
Because I was like, nope. You have to give me the lowest dose of medication possible. Like, I don't want to feel anything. I want to feel the pain, you know? Like,
yeah.
I
Do
don't
you remember back in the day, like going to the doctor and getting a throat culture?
No, I've never done that.
Well, that, you know how I said like it
Wait,
was about
is it
me.
where they swab it?
No, where they just take a popsicle stick and put it on the back of your throat.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I remember being younger and like that had to be where it was from because like my mom and a nurse had to hold me down just for him to like look at my throat.
Yeah.
Because like I would just freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I was so scared. And my mom, that sweet angel that she is, she lives in New York. I was like, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to figure it out. And she's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm driving down from New York. I'm taking you. Because I had to get foot surgery in Ohio because that's where the incident happened.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So she drove me out there, got the surgery, went home. And I only asked for ibuprofen. I was like, I don't want any painkillers. Like, I don't do that. I don't even take Tylenol.
Yeah.
But yeah, they gave me the ibuprofen. I only took one that entire time, and I just suffered through the rest. And I smoked a lot of weed.
I
But
bet.
that was also another huge thing too. Is just like in that, especially in that time, like smoking weed still frowned upon.
Yeah.
And I would be drug tested.
Yeah. So like you
And-
couldn't do it while you were working.
Right.
Yeah.
So
That's wild.
they wouldn't give me any workman's comp anyways because I have THC in my system, even though I wasn't high on the job or whatever, but because I smoked weed a week ago.
Yeah, they just can't test how soon or how recent you've done it.
Right.
I mean, that's the only.
So that was another huge factor that like crossed through my mind, but mainly because like my responsibility was I had a ballet that week and like a bunch of other stuff that I had to do.
Yeah.
And I couldn't miss it. I had to do it. So I went back to work, blah, 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 still being treated like shit. I mean, whatever. Either way, filed the lawsuit, and it took like a handful of lawyers before someone took me on. And the first person that I called driving the way home, just sobbing from after saying like, I'm done, I can't work here, was Brian Drusky, who owns Drusky Entertainment.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, Brian.
He's a lawyer.
No, he's not, but
Oh.
he's a good friend, and he stuck his neck out for me for a lot of things, especially like working for him, being a lighting designer
Yeah.
at Altar
'Cause
Bar and
I
everything.
knew that he did all that.
Very awesome dude. And the reason I called him is because I'm like, well, you work in the music industry and I trust you. Like, can you help me find a lawyer? Because I know I have a case.
Yeah.
Because I recorded everything. I had everything, there in physical form of like when incidents happened, who said what, when they said it, where was I, what shows was I working.
Yeah.
Everything, because I'm very anal when it comes to like my scheduling, because if I don't know months in advance what I'm doing, I panic.
Yeah.
So I write everything down. And he sent me to a lawyer. That lawyer sent me to 100 other people, blah, 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 blah. And it was because everyone said that sexual harassment lawsuits aren't taken seriously, especially coming from a woman.
Yeah. I mean,
These are male lawyers that I dealt with, and they didn't want to hear it. And I was like, all right. Finally, I reached out to a lawyer in Cleveland, and it was a woman. And she's like, yep, you got a case. So yeah, I spent that time hearing these testaments from my coworkers, who a lot of them stood up for me, but a lot of them were like naysayers about everything.
yeah.
About the main situations, but they were writing statements saying that I was a drug addict and an alcoholic, and I fell asleep on shows, and I'm this and I'm that, and I'm lazy. I have problems. I have a drug problem. I'm psychotic and depressed, and I shouldn't be allowed to work in this
That's
industry.
insane. So
And
so
just lying.
what-
And I had people from every spectrum of this industry that I worked with, say that I'll stand up for you in court and I will plead to them that this is not you, because I've never had a complaint.
Yeah.
There was maybe a handful of times that I've had a complaint because someone was being an asshole.
Yeah, they deserved it.
Every show I gave 100%.
So what was the end result of all this shit?
So within that time, like I know I keep jumping back and forth. There's just so many stories.
No, I get it.
In these years of my life. But yeah, going through the lawsuit, jobless. I was afraid to get a job. Just kept to myself, stayed in my room. Mm-hmm. I was living with my business partner, Nick, and our 2 friends at the time, because when I took that job in Ohio, I asked to move in with them so they can help me with my pup. Yeah. Because I was going to be working this job and I needed it. So they helped me out a lot, and I got rid of my house and everything, which is a dumb idea, but did all that, and they were the most supportive people during that time. My mother. I didn't know what to do with myself. I took those gigs. I started working in that shop, and I sat down writing my lawsuit. I spent days sitting outside on our front porch in Mount Washington, watching the sunset, just typing away for hours and hours and hours to get this lawsuit done.
Yeah.
And it finally hit me one morning, and I turned to Nick, and I was like, Nick, I don't deserve to be treated like this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore. We got to do something. And we always played around with the fact of, like, maybe one day we could own this really cool metal bar or do something fun, just like
always
dumb,
just an idea.
High, having a couple of beers, talking about stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, dude, let's do it. Like, I don't deserve this. I know I don't. I know I'm a good person, but I'm conflicted this time because going through all this stuff, like, mentally, I wasn't with it anymore. I looked at myself like I was garbage because I kept hearing from people that I was garbage. Yeah. Even though in my heart, I knew that wasn't true, but my mind is so overpowering. Yeah. And so, yeah, we started just thinking about it. I started looking, and we're thinking of these crazy ideas, and I'm drawing blueprints and like typing out like an idea of what this could be. And we're like, dude, let's open up a fucking metal coffee shop. Like, let's do that. Yeah. Let's make something that reflects everything that we are into one little conglomerate of what we want to be, and like all the things that we want to share with the world. Because like me and him both have very diverse lifestyles. We're involved with a lot of different things, a lot of, just bizarre things. Yeah. And, that's just because of the industries that we're in. We make connections with the weirdest, most awesome, most inspiring people. Yeah, for sure. And I'm always very humbled by that with the people that I know and the connections that I've made over the years. But, yeah, we were living in Mount Washington, and we're like, well, let's just look at some neighborhoods. Like, where would be a cool place for this? And I'm like, dude, we're looking at Oakland and Southside and Millvale and blah, 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 blah. I was like, there's this space in Allentown on Craigslist. Let's go look at that. He's like, Allentown? I'm like, yeah, dude, Allentown. Well, he was podcasting actually at the time with Epicast at Work Hard. So he knew of Allentown. But he's like, I don't know. But yeah, we looked at the space, met with the real estate person from over there. And that space in the corner is the old floral shop? Yeah. We were originally supposed to get all 3 of those storefronts. Oh, yeah? That was like, boom, we're going to get that, and that's going to be like a lawn venue and a coffee shop this way. Oh, man. So it would have been rad, right? So, obviously we're very early in this dream, and we're just talking to the real estate agent about it. Like, this is kind of like our idea, and we're like working on ideas and what we need to do. All right, cool. Gather all your stuff. No one's really looking at the space, blah, 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 blah. Then we meet this woman, Sienna, who is one of the people at the Hilltop Alliance. Okay. So, and Hilltop Alliance, of course, is a nonprofit in the Hilltop neighborhoods that helps like businesses and residents, learn more and be involved with their neighborhood, and helps fund a lot of things. Yeah. So we met with her, and she's like, I have all these great resources for you. Take them. So we took business classes. We went to small business things, entrepreneurial things, like anything the city offered. Like, that's where we met Peduto and his assistant Henry, who's been really helpful for us. Yeah, that's how we met a lot of people that like, yes, you should do this. This is a great idea. You guys have a great idea. Mm-hmm. So we spend months building this business plan figuring out financial stuff, talk to, banks, this and that, trying to get funding, and people are like, yeah. And then they're like, no. Like, this is a bad idea. You're in an underdeveloped neighborhood that no one gives a crap about.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. There's no foot traffic. There's no this. Your idea isn't really money making. Because, like, let's be real. Coffee shops don't really make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people that own coffee shops are young entrepreneurs that is what their time is. Or young parents that can hire an employer or two, and da.
Yeah.
But it's just it's a steady job, I guess, if you're willing to do everything yourself. And we're like, yeah, we get that, but it's more than just coffee. Like,
yeah,
we want to be a small venue, we want to be an art gallery, we want to do all these cool things. And they're like,
and
that's
be your
dumb.
own boss,
right?
Or like that's the
and people
goal.
are just like, no. We're like, all right. So yeah, the banks kept denying us, and we're like, we got to do something because we need this to happen. And then, of course, that space fell through. And honestly, the real estate agent, like, I love him as a person, this, that, the other thing, but he flat out denied us to our face. He's like, I don't believe in this mission. You're not getting the space.
Oh, yeah.
And we're just like, what?
I mean, it happens with, like,
it happens all the time.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
But, like, obviously, I was 24 at the time, so I'm just like, my dreams.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we're trying so hard, and I've been through so much.
And how old is Nick?
Nick is 30. He's going to be 31 this year.
Okay, so, yeah, these are still both young. So,
yeah.
27, 24, trying to, like, come to this dude with, like, a metal coffee shop. Like,
yeah.
And I understand, like, before... I mean, Allentown was nothing. It's getting built up now for sure,
yeah.
but like it was nothing.
Exactly. And like Allentown was one, like after I lived in Southside, I moved up to Allentown. So I like spent a lot of my time there.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Nick was obviously working out of work hard, and we're talking to all these people, and they're like, why don't you do some crowdfunding, man? Because like the last lender we talked to was just like, get some money, more money down for this down payment.
Yeah.
And we'll lend you. And we're like, cool. So we did an Indiegogo. And we raised $8,500 in 30 days.
Oh,
and
yeah?
that was our goal.
What is like Indiegogo is the same thing as Kickstarter?
Yeah, pretty much, but it's different. But
Yeah.
it was with us never
Same
doing
simple
any
idea.
of these things. Yeah, we did an Indiegogo, and that was a very stressful but awesome time in our lives. And we found a different space, and that's the current space that we are in now.
No, wait. We didn't even talk about this. Explain what all this is that we're talking about.
Oh yeah, duh.
Yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm like, we didn't even say what people were probably like. What the fuck does she do?
Okay, so I know I am such a bad
It's all right.
person staying on task.
I get so interested in people and like I forget that there's like
I love talking about life experiences and
Me too.
learning people's life experiences.
That's why I fucking do this.
Yeah, it's amazing because every person
Has a different
has
story.
a different story, and like I think about that. No matter like if you're a stranger walking down the street, if I'm just sitting there pondering, I'm like, I wonder what you do. Like,
Yeah, it's like
what?
I have a life and like my life to other people just on the outside, I work at an engineering firm. On the weekend I work at a clothing boutique. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm married, got a house, like we're that's typical, but like deep down, like you peel away the layers, like I'm into some different shit. Like I like
Right.
different shit, and I know that every single other person is like that.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's why I like
crazy.
talking to people.
That's why I love what I do.
Yeah.
But okay, so I am co-owner and operator of Black Forge Coffee House. Black Forge Coffee House is a music venue, art gallery, coffee shop, community coffee shop. It is everything that any person that has struggled or has an alternative lifestyle or anything can feel comfortable and come there and just chill out and be themselves.
It's a very creative, welcoming place.
Thank you. That is again, like Black Forge is the essence and the reflection of who Nick and I are as people.
Yeah, I mean,
everything about it.
It's intense at first. It
Oh,
is
yeah.
100% intense.
Oh yeah, when we first opened, people were sending us, like, oh,
We're gonna
cults.
get into this.
Yeah.
because there's a couple of things that I want to get into.
Absolutely.
Now, so you have this coffee shop, Allentown, and like anytime, like I've probably been in there maybe 10 times, and every time I've been in there, there's been like different art on the walls by local people, always like music playing, and it's like my first experience of it is like I go in and I see like like fucking pentagrams and like wild ass shit, and it's like, And it's like at first you're like wonder what the fuck this place could be, and it's like you go talk to like whoever's working and hi, how are you? Like it's like everyone's so bubbly and nice.
Yeah.
And it's like I known of Nick because of like the podcast stuff beforehand, and I don't know, it's just an interesting place because like I mean I see what you guys were saying about like how you were just saying like, oh, it's not like a money maker, but like you guys definitely seemed like you took a big risk because like you. Like the way that you like, how would you describe the way you like decorate? Like, you know what I mean? It's different. I feel
imagine a like weird side room in like a haunted attraction with like Slayer thrown in there and like pagan, you know, symbolism and oh my God, we have everything that. You know, if you're...
Now, where did all this come from? Are you guys like...
So...
I don't know a lot about it. So listen, beforehand, I don't know a lot about like the terminology or
I got you. I'll
whatever.
Fill you all in.
So like if I ask you things and I'm very ignorant to it.
Oh, dude. And that's, again, like every little speck of Black Forge is supposed to be talked about if someone wants an answer.
Yeah. So like how do you get into like this type of like...
Honestly... I don't know. We had this envisioned, and obviously when we first opened, it was very, very simple.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a whole lot of funding. We opened up Black Forge with $30,000.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know how the fuck we did it, but we did it.
Man, that's awesome. I mean, like,
and that was seriously like.
I'm sure you were scraping shit together.
Yeah. No, it was really, really insane how we did it, and I still am like blown away at how we did it, but. A huge factor is we had a lot of supporting people in our lives.
Yeah.
Like people that we've worked for, people that we worked with, and this, that, and the other thing. And really great friends and family. It's not like Nick and I did not grow up rich. Like mommy and daddy didn't hand us money.
Yeah.
But they came down and they helped us like build it.
Yeah, it's like I get what you're saying.
You know, it wasn't like, you know, I don't have credit at all. Really, I mean, I have credit, but it's not good credit because I have shitty student loans to a college that doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
So $100,000 later, here I am.
Jesus.
Thanks, Art Institute. But you know, I worked for Crazy Mocha for several years.
How'd you get into coffee even?
So my parents drank coffee a lot when I was a kid. That was kind of their thing, and I was always just interested by it. And one of the first jobs that I actually like really applied for was at a Simon Coffee Bar that I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
And it was open for like a month, but again, it was in Uptown.
Yeah.
So it wasn't developed at all. It was just like a Simon Coffee Bar in the middle of the area. No one knew what it was, how it was.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. So it didn't last very long. And shortly after that, I went for an interview for Crazy Mocha as a barista, part-time barista. Mm-hmm. And I was really lucky to be trained by actually a really good manager. Because, you know, Crazy Mocha is a coffee chain. Sometimes you get really awesome experience. Sometimes you don't.
And like in everything.
Exactly.
Like,
it doesn't...
some people are fucking assholes. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was very fortunate for my upbringing in the coffee world.
Yeah.
And I was trained by someone that actually gave a shit about coffee. So I grew this crazy...
You drank coffee? You liked it? Like from...
Black.
Oh, okay. So
especially throughout
you
college.
were heavy into it. If you were drinking black coffee, you were real.
Especially in college. You know, I'm going to art school. I'm smoking cigarettes out the wazoo and drinking black coffee. That's how I lived.
See, my first job ever, my first like real job was at Gloria Jeans, which was a coffee chain.
I never worked at a Gloria Jeans.
It was in Century 3 Mall. You're familiar with Century 3 Mall? Yeah, well, that was whenever Century 3 Mall was still a thing. I was in 10th grade. It was the fucking best job ever.
Yeah,
the owners were the worst. They were the worst people ever, but I ended up having like a fuck you to them and left, like just walked out.
That's what's up.
But like other than that, like everything about it I loved. I didn't drink coffee though.
Yeah.
I was more of like the foo-foo, like vanilla bean, frappuccino, you know what I mean?
I like those every once in a while, but that like just learning the chemistry of coffee and understanding like brewing it and the grinding and everything. Like it was such an experience.
This wasn't even like that though. The I got the coolest part about my job there was working at the mall where everyone was at all the time, working with my good friend, being able to play the only music that I wanted to over the speaker, and being able to mix things together. Like, I was always fascinated with the movie Cocktail growing up. Tom Cruise and Paul Newman.
I've never seen it.
Well, they do bar flair. Like, they spin bottles and mix shit. Okay. So, like, I was always, like, super fascinated with, like, making drinks, mixing drinks, alcohol. Obviously, I wasn't 21, so I couldn't work in a bar. Next best thing was coffee. I didn't drink it. Wasn't a big deal. So I wasn't, like, crazy in love with it. But that was my first job. Fast forward to now, my wife worked at Starbucks for like 6 years because it was like right next to her house. So she is like a fucking snob as far as coffee.
Years ago when I was still in college, I interviewed at 3 Starbucks in Pittsburgh. None of them hired me.
Oh yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
fuck you guys now.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, fuck you guys now. You got
but
this.
Yeah, like I worked at Crazy Mocha for a while, and I was a workaholic. Like, I loved making coffee, and I loved the small interactions that I have with people, because I suffer from a lot of social anxiety.
Yeah.
But in a coffee shop, you get to learn somebody within a couple of minutes every day. You learn a little more, and you contribute to their day. You contribute to their happiness and their well-being as a barista.
Some people need it to live.
I can't tell you. I've only had like a handful of really bad experiences as a barista. And one of them being this one guy who threw money on my counter every morning. And it pissed me off. I'd be like, "Hi, how are you?" "Oh, small coffee? Cool, $2.20 or whatever it was." And he would throw his money on the counter. It would just fucking, ugh. But then I like got over it for a while. I was like, "Hi, how are you?" Yeah? "Please throw your change on the counter." "Great, I'll get your small coffee. Here you go. Have a great day." Every day. And then his son started interning under him or something. Yeah. And I've been serving this guy for like 2-3 years at this point. Mm-hmm. And his son and him did it at the same time. And I literally picked up their money and threw it at them. Because I put my hand out, like, just both palms open, like, it is going to be this amount of money. Just like, my hands are here. Please put it in my hands. Yeah. One time. And they looked at my hands and threw the money on the counter. So I picked it up, threw it at them, and he fucking lost it. And he went up to the owner, Crazy Mocha, because his office was above me at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Screaming about it. Just yelling, like, "Fuck your employee, blah, blah, blah." Dude leaves. I'm so anxious that I'm going to lose my job. So scared. Because I loved working there. Yeah. And he's like, "I've been seeing him do that to you for years." I'm surprised that you finally did it.
Took you that long to do that.
So I didn't get fired. I didn't get in trouble.
That's cool, though.
That's when also Crazy Mocha was expanding even more. And the owner, Ken, and his family, his wife, amazing people. I thought I was just an employee. I never meant a single thing to them. But they cared about me, and they really did. And that's when I started getting heavily more into like all my lighting stuff. So I'd send Ken my schedule months in advance, and he'd work it around that schedule. He's like, "Just let me know when your load-ins are. If something happens, just let me know." He was very forgiving, and like, because I busted my ass. Yeah. And, you know, after time, I had to leave because I got that other job in Ohio. But yeah, when we were like talking about opening up this coffee shop, word got around, and Ken actually got a hold of me. He's like, "Hey, I heard you're opening up a coffee shop. Why don't you come down and talk to me?" And I was like, "Oh shit, is he gonna yell at me? Yeah. Did I do something wrong?" And he met with Nick and I, and he's like, "This is amazing. I'm so proud of you guys. This is super great. And in my philosophy, if you want your life to be successful, you should continue to show that support in any way that you possibly can to every other person."
Yeah, for sure.
And
you have to be like that.
He's like, "I'm shutting down one of my stores. I have to, all this stuff is going to sit in storage anyways. Why don't you bring a U-Haul, pay for the U-Haul, and I will donate most of this stuff to you."
Wow. That's incredible. Is Crazy Mocha a local company?
Yep, it is.
Mm-hmm. But it's a big chain now, though, right?
Yeah, it's a big local chain, and they're just starting to branch outside of PA.
That's cool, though.
But I mean, good for him. He's running a successful business.
Yeah, for sure.
But
that's awesome that he and
helped you out a little bit. He is a huge reason why we were able to open up for $30,000. You know, espresso machine, countertops,
all about
everything.
Who you know.
Everything that we got in that space is reused or donated or something. Pretty much, like. There was a coffee shop closing down in Greensburg, that we saw on Craigslist, and we brought a U-Haul out there. We're like, let's just buy all your stuff. And she hooked it up. She's like, just take most of this and just give me like a couple $1,000s.
That's awesome.
And luckily they did that, because when it came down to like brass tacks with all the plumbing and electrical, this, that, the other thing, that was all of our money gone.
Oh yeah.
All of it.
Now, when was the official opening?
The official opening was August 2015. We were originally supposed to be open that summer, but the plumbing situation, like they just got a new Allegheny Health Department person or whatever of plumbing.
Yeah.
And originally you didn't have to get a grease trap for a coffee shop unless you're making food.
Yeah.
We weren't making food. We don't have the space for it, right? So we were told through the head plumber and all these connections that we didn't need a grease trap. Well, they came for the inspection and they're like, you need a grease trap. And we're like, that's not in our budget.
Yeah.
So
that's fucked up.
All the money that we had left went into redoing all of the plumbing and getting this fucking grease trap. And we still don't make fucking grease in that coffee shop.
You guys, do you guys, I know you guys have pastries.
Mm-hmm. And everything, all of our products are currently being bought locally from our friends' businesses that are within like a mile radius of the shop.
Oh, yeah?
So our pastries come from our friend Janie, who actually messaged us right when Black Forge made an announcement that we were trying to be open. We met with her at Delaney's.
Oh, yeah.
She brought pastries in. She's like, here, try these. Like, I really would like to work with you guys. So I tried them. I'm like, holy shit, these are great. We're going to totally work together.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Zeke's, like...
Oh, I know Zeke's.
So Zeke's, obviously, they roast our coffee currently. And they worked with us. We made our own custom blends. Like, those dudes are freaking awesome. And, you know, our food's made right down the street at Black Market Beef before it was Sweet Peaches, before Sweet Peaches shut down.
That's awesome.
You know, everything that we
try
to
keep
do,
it local.
Exactly. And honestly, I am so happy that we did that. And we'll continue to be very local with everything that we do, but more local in the sense that we're going to be self-making our own things.
Oh, yeah?
I'll get to that.
That's awesome.
I'll get to that. But, you know, what's really important as a small business person is thinking about, I mean, not even as a small business, everyone has different things, but as a coffee shop, the culture that it is like the freshest thing possible. People want fresh, people want experience, they want an atmosphere, and they want to be able to say, I'm going to come here every single morning and spend my money here and go out of my way so I can start my morning off right. So you want to make that the best experience possible, from your customer service to your products to this, that, and the other thing.
I agree with that.
And to build those relationships locally is so important, because it's just like, oh, can I work with you on this? Like, oh, we didn't really like this product, or, oh, there's a problem, or, oh, we're out of coffee, or, oh, this, or, oh, that. Everyone's there to respond within a minute.
Yeah.
And it is so amazing. We've built these really strong relationships with these people. And
that's the difference. Like, if you're working local, you could build a relationship with someone. You get to know them.
And that is the foundation of Black Forge, is people making connections and building together and supporting each other.
That's awesome.
We would not be open if we weren't surrounded by supportive, loving, passionate, dedicated people all the time.
Yeah.
And truly, like, with any amount of work that you put into something, you'll get that right back.
I agree with that.
And
you guys got love in the beginning when everything's opened, or were you like scared in the beginning?
that was a really bizarre time too. Like, when we did that Indiegogo, I was just like, dude, I don't feel comfortable doing this. Like, I don't think we're going to get it. I think people are going to mock us and be like, this is a stupid idea. And we raised that money. Most of those people were people that lived in Allentown that we had no idea who they were.
I mean, they were probably pumped about it.
Yeah, I mean, the fact, like, our whole base is like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, we want to do this dream of ours. But at the same time, like, I've always wanted to be a part of something. Like, I was an outsider kid. I wasn't cool. I didn't, win any awards. I just, like, really liked art. I had to keep to myself and sit on the beach and go to shows. But the fact that we could be a part of something like helping build a community and helping residents, feel comfortable going out in their business district. Like, I remember always wanting that too as a kid, like being able to walk down the street and be like, I get to go to my coffee shop and there's a grocery store and there's this and there's that. I dreamed about that stuff as a kid. Cause when you're young, you're like, what will I be when I'm married at 21 years old or whatever?
You always see the cinematic the cinematic view of everything. Like, oh, walk downstairs. There's a coffee shop
Right.
that you know the guy at, and you always talk to, and you
Right,
go get your
and
groceries there. And
That's what I want. I want that human interaction. I wanted to be a gap filler.
You wanted to be someone in someone's life. Like, I get what
Right.
you're saying.
Because I've always been, as a lighting designer too, like, yeah, you have to talk to the bands, you have to do this, but like no one knew, like as a lighting designer, no one really knows what you're doing.
Yeah, you're still behind the scenes.
No one knows that you exist. They just think like lights happen. Lights
It's nice
just
to
happen.
it's nice to like get a little bit of the recognition.
Right.
Because like it's not even really, I feel, about like the recognition. It's about like the hard work you're doing and like seeing it pay off.
Exactly. It never crossed my mind as a lighting person. Like, yeah, it would bum me out every once in a while when like a band called it like, oh, thanks, sound guy, whoever. And you're just like,
Yeah.
what about me?
Yeah, fuck me, right?
Yeah, fuck me. I've been here since fucking 10 a.m.
Yeah,
It's
setting
now
up
2
all your
and you don't
shit.
give a shit.
Now, so this Indiegogo, like, do you set up like goals? Like, if people pledge whatever amount, they get something. Like, did you do stuff like that?
So yeah, we my really good friend Max, he now lives in Seattle. He actually just left us recently. Him and his girlfriend are living out there.
Okay.
But he was a huge reason why Black Forge is what it is, because he's our graphic designer.
Oh, okay.
And anyone that knows Black Forge is
Yeah,
that
I
we
have a
have
coffee mug.
Yeah, we have
The
that
black one.
The strong branding that he created to make Black Forge what it is.
I also have the Donald Trump shirt.
Yeah. I love that.
I do have that.
That shirt is bananas, but that is all thanks to Max. Every single thing, those punch cards.
Yeah,
Max.
yeah. So let's get into these punch cards.
Oh,
In the
boy.
beginning, I'm going to just tell you how I started learning about this. So I just remember something on Facebook coming along that said, like, that you guys were catching some heat because this coffee shop that just opened in Pittsburgh made these punch cards with political leaders that had holes punched through their heads. Now, how did this come up?
Okay. So let's talk about the punch cards before.
Yeah.
So when we first opened, Nick brought up the idea of like, I think it'd be funny if we did like punch cards with like stupid politicians on it. We're like, well, yeah, it's a great idea. Let's do
for
that.
sure.
So Nick brought that idea up. We're like, okay. So Max was like, in one day, let me figure out the 10 worst politicians out there. So it include like Ann Coulter and, a bunch of other fucking people that suck. I can't even remember off the top of my head. But a bunch of these people are on there. No one gave a shit.
Yeah.
We used them. People would laugh at them. Ha ha ha. Whatever. Obviously, we faced a really tough time in America when Donald Trump realistically was running for president. I thought it was a joke. I was like,
I think a lot of people thought it
like
was a joke.
Waka Flocka. Like that's how I looked at it, on the same end of like Waka Flocka is running for president, Donald Trump running. This is the same
Did
thing.
you see do you watch The Office?
Yes.
So I just saw a video on online. This is a sidebar, obviously, but it's a video of Donald Trump, and it says, "Oh, are you taking a picture of me? Make sure we look skinny." And it's him and Kim Jong Un, and it just goes,
Oh my
It was like the most
God.
perfect cold opening of an episode of The Office ever.
That is amazing.
And it fits so well, and I'm just like, Jesus. Like, I've talked about this before on here. Like, I am the farthest away from politics. Like, I am ignorant to it, and I never paid attention, and I'm so just oblivious to what's going on. I feel that I can't give a educated opinion. So like, I talk about it, I try to keep up with what's going on. I don't really know a lot of the shit that's going on, but I mean, like, I try to. I know that people don't like Donald Trump, and I know that you guys have a punch card with Donald Trump on it that got some recognition.
Yeah, as I started to get older and understand, like, especially, in the midst of opening up a small business originally,
It applies to you now.
You have to know what's going on in politics. You have to know how it's affecting your business and how everything affects your business.
Yeah.
So, like, my grandfather was a Marine, and, we were kind of involved in politics as a kid. Like, obviously, he served and, like, fucking kicked ass and got my grandmother pregnant in the Philippines and brought her back, and here I am.
Here you are.
But, when that was happening, obviously we were really big Bernie supporters. And we spent a lot of time, posting things like, please go vote, please go vote, please go vote.
Yeah.
And no matter what politician you are, what side you're on, what's this, what's that, you're still a fucking politician at the end of the day, and I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Even like some of the things that Bernie said, I'm like, that's not a good idea for small business people.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Like, are you just like a straight up like fuck Donald Trump, or will you listen to what people have to say?
I was listening and I was paying attention and I was reading.
And that's fine. That's fine to give your judgment. I feel like that there's so many people that won't even have the time of day of listening to the argument.
And that's the really sad thing in politics is like, yeah, instantly when I heard Donald Trump was running, I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not voting for that guy. And, politics is a really crazy thing in this world right now, and you are instantly judged to be cast upon whatever side. And it's a very finicky thing to talk about in person. And like, I'm still really low key on my personal, ideals and this, that, and the other thing. I don't share shit
on Facebook or really
anything. It is what it is, but it's good to be educated so you are aware of what's going on. And if you come into a situation or come into a conversation that you can understand and also be open-minded, because I'm still open-minded to a lot of things that Donald Trump says, especially my stepdad. I love this dude. He treats my mother like gold. He is awesome. He's a huge supporter of what we do. But before he actually met me, he's never met like a tattooed, pot-smoking, fucking piercing metal chick that hates Donald Trump. And he is a alt-right Donald Trump supporter because he is a fire marshal. He is,
I mean, it's hard to fault people. It's hard to fault the older generation.
It is.
For choosing their side, because like they literally have grown up in a different world.
Right.
Talked about this on the last podcast. In 10 years, so much has changed as far as like everything being PC. Like people were still saying like people were saying fucked up stuff in movies still that you're not allowed to like say now, like using the word faggot, things like that. Like that back then was like part of like comedy culture, but like now it's like forbidden to say that shit. And like that right there, which I agree with. Like I agree that like we're making the right moves to like dissolve all that, but it's like in 10 years, like that is a perfect for me, that's a perfect example. Like in 10 years ago, that was just like people batted an eye at that.
I remember, hearing my friends say those words. I'm like, well, I don't really like to say that word.
But now it's like, it's so much different. And it's like, you cannot fault, like I can't fault my grandmother for being a Trump supporter. Right. Like she's fucking crazy sometimes, but like, you know what? That's a different world.
And you know what? And we learn from our elders, and the generations beneath us will learn from us. And we have to be educated and be open-minded so we can teach this younger generation coming up what to be, so this world does not fall apart. And Absolutely. It is falling apart right before our eyes. But us as like people who really take full concern and pride in like what we do and the things that we want to see happen in our lives and other people's lives too. I mean, I would hope that every person wants the best in every person.
And that's why like I try to like tread carefully as far as like politics, because
Absolutely.
Like I don't know a bunch of shit. And it's like I'm not trying to like initiate some crazy conversation whenever I'm just like, bro, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
And honestly, I just don't want to talk about it. Like and I understand that that's naive, or maybe naive is the wrong word, but that's not right of me. But it's just like sometimes like I got to hear that shit whenever I put on the news, like everything.
And to be completely fair, this is your life, and what keeps you level, what keeps you creative, what keeps you this. If not talking politics helps you be a good person, you don't have to talk about it, man. Like that's how I look at it. I try not to let politics, ruin my friendships. Like I have a lot of friends that are very, conservative with a lot of things. I'm just like, that's cool. Like you don't believe in abortions. Like, that sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
And everyone's different, but I'm not going to stop being your friend because we have different views. I'm your friend because we can build this connection together and be something. And I don't think politics does definitely make a difference. I mean, I'm not going to hang out with, Trump supporter over there who hates gays and hates this and hates that.
I completely understand that. If you're fucking like a nut job, then like you're obviously, you can be cast away.
Coming back to like my stepdad and stuff, like when Bernie was still in the running and we're talking, my parents actually took me to New Orleans for a couple of days. It was like right after, like we opened and this, that, and the other thing. Yeah. And, you know, we got into a political conversation. He's like, why are you voting for Bernie? So I said my spiel, and he was like, yeah, well, Donald Trump's going to win, this, that, the other thing. I'm like, shut the fuck up. And like, we started getting into this heavy argument. My mother's like, please stop. And I'm like, fine.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's like the religion talk.
It is what it is. But so with these punch cards,
back full circle.
Sorry.
It's
so
all right.
with these punch cards, we actually made the punch cards before Donald Trump was elected president. We made them. We made them. We're like, oh, it was probably like a couple months before the election. And you have it. That's the original.
No, this is Donald Trump.
Oh, that's the Donald Trump one?
Yeah, these are all Donald Trumps.
So yeah, the first punch card, whatever, no one gave a shit about. Second punch card, we made it with like Ted Cruz. Ann Coulter, obviously on there again. She's a crazy woman.
Yeah.
Pence, Trump. I don't even remember who else is on it. But
and that caught some buzz.
Obviously, like, these people are mainstream in the media for being crazy people. So we're like, yeah, we're going to throw these on here.
Yeah, for sure.
But we printed like thousands of the first one.
Yeah.
So we wanted to run out of those beforehand and then put out the new Donald Trump ones. The irony, it coincidentally happened around the same time he was elected.
So what happened? Like, did that get national exposure?
International.
That's what I remember seeing national, and I like.
Oh yeah, no, it was a wild ride, and I'll keep this story pretty short, but there's a lot that goes into it. So Nick was like, I'm gonna post this funny because I don't know if you've seen our post, but we post pretty stupid stuff like, yeah, what up, metalheads? Like,
yeah, like you guys silly, play along with like the whole like
niche-y funny
stick
things.
of it. You know what I mean?
Like, we're not crazy Satanists like everyone thinks that we are or whatever.
See, I honestly didn't know. Like, I was curious because like I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't fucking know. And I was like,
and that's the thing. Like, that's what brings people in is like no one knows.
Yeah,
no one knows
it's
what
curious.
So I mean, and we like to keep those things, you know, again, off to the side. But
yeah, for sure.
You know, when it came down to the punch card, Nick was like, I'm gonna make this funny post. I was like, okay, cool. And he made it, and then it just went.
Really?
It just exploded.
Now, it was on Instagram or Facebook?
It was on Facebook.
Okay.
It was on Facebook first. And I remember we're getting like laughing faces and like hearts. And because most of the people that follow us are obviously kind of like whatever.
Yeah.
And
then you probably started getting the fire.
And then, then someone's tagging like, you know, Secret Service. Then people are tagging like the local news. And people are like, fuck you, that's un-American. And we're just watching it go boop, 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 boop. And we're like, oh my God.
You know, the other day I listened to a podcast with Anthony Bourdain and R.I.P. to the GOAT.
R.I.P.
But he said a quote to Mark Maron. He said, I fear certainty. And that's like, it like blew my fucking mind whenever I said that, because like, that's really what it is. It's like, I don't fuck with people that cannot have a conversation, listen to what someone has to say, chew it up, then like think about it, and then disagree.
Right, no, they're instantly to jump and be like, bleh.
Yeah, it's like,
Instant
fuck you.
attacks.
It's immediately.
And this is something that like I learned before all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Especially being someone that suffers with, you know, manic depression and anxiety and OCD and everything. Is like, I think about what that person is going through that day, like, hey, maybe I should rethink, even if I'm angry, like what I'm going to say to this person. Like, why are you being so shitty? Why?
Yeah, maybe the other person's having a bad day.
They're just having a bad day, you know? And I've always kept that in the back of my mind because I do truly care about.
It's hard though sometimes.
It is. And this
some
is
people
like,
just go out of pocket way too far.
And I'm totally guilty of that. I'm totally guilty of blowing up or
we all
being
are.
a certain way. You know, and it sucks, and it's good to realize when you're like that, so you can build on that and try.
Absolutely,
to be better.
You want to just try to be a little bit better.
But with the punch card stuff, that started happening. All this crazy stuff started happening. People were calling like.
This was in a day. One day this happened.
One day, I was working in the coffee shop that morning. I left, and then Nick was there, and I went home and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Nick calls me. He's like, the news station is here. And I was like,
hey, this blew up a little bit more than we thought.
What do you mean the news station is here? And he's
what
like,
did the post even say, first of all? Was it just a picture of the card?
It was a picture of the card. He's like, if you want to, if you want to shoot one of these idiots in the head or something,
put a hole in one of their heads or something.
Yeah,
like,
just something stupid.
Yeah, something play on words. Like, I get it, but like it wasn't nothing like.
It wasn't like, fuck Donald Trump, let's kill him.
Yeah.
It was, something stupid and silly, and then people obviously blew it up.
That's fucking insane.
That day, whatever local news station, I remember, but if you search this, you can search YouTube videos, you can type in Black Forge Coffee House, Trump punch cards, or whatever. You can read thousands of articles on it and see thousands of pictures and thousands of interviews. It was that fucking big. And it literally, like, Nick and I...
Did he address it at all?
Who?
Donald Trump?
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
Who knows? You never know.
I don't know. I have no idea. Fuck that guy. But
he'll talk to fucking Robert De Niro and
right?
anyone else in the world. Like, that's where I think it gets crazy to me. I don't know anything about politics, but if that dude got the time to tweet at people, like, I ain't got time for that.
Exactly. Me either, honestly. And that was this whole situation. It's like
international.
This local news station came in and they interviewed Nick and they cut it up so it was cut a really awful way.
So he probably sounded like a dickhead.
Like an
very
asshole.
Malicious. Yeah.
And they're like zooming. We have like a rosebush pentagram that somebody made us,
and
we
he
have
has
like
fucking dreads and like.
And we have the Baphomet on the.
What is a Baphomet?
So that is that goat that we have on
our
door.
Yeah.
And
what is it called? A Baphomet
or Baphomet? Yeah,
I didn't know that.
But we have like a big thing of that painted on our door. And like they zoomed in on that, and then we have the cold brew with the shot of espresso called a shot in the head, and that was obviously named before this punch card. But they zoomed in on shot in the head, and like, oh my god, they're zooming in on all the satanic artwork that we have in there. Holy shit, it just got crazy, and all these people were like, "Oh, crazy Satanists! Like blah blah blah, get them out of your neighborhood! Like we're gonna kill them!" And days of people calling us saying that they were gonna kill us and they were gonna. I was told I was going to be raped, murdered.
Christ. People calling you.
Yeah, calling the shop. Obviously exploded all over Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, national news, international news. We had like, radio talk things and podcasts, and Fox News finally decided to come into Black Forge.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's why it went national and international, is because of
now.
Fox
Did you
News.
Now with all this like exposure and everything like that? Was it more positive or more negative? Like I'm sure in the short run it was probably more negative. But long term it might have been. With
everything that happened, I took it really. Nick and I both took it really, really hard. But I don't, hide my emotions anymore because I can't. Like if I hold things in, I lose everything in myself. So I cry at least once a day,
Okay, yeah.
I do yoga, I meditate, I do all these things because I have to be level with myself. And every single day, my energy gets knocked out of whack and I have to be brought back or else I can't function as a human being. And during this time, I was struggling really hard with a lot of things.
Yeah.
I was very depressed. I was very upset. I didn't know what to do because people, again, it stems from that PTSD that I have of people being like, "You're a piece of shit. You're a bad person." To national and international people being like, "Fuck you. You're gonna die."
Yeah, like
Fuck
that's probably.
you.
I didn't even think about that.
People
all the people
said
giving
so many
you feedback.
like people would pick us out and write like 1-star reviews, like that stupid purple-haired pig, and like. There are 1-star reviews of people like calling out Nick and I being pieces of shit, and obviously none of these people lived in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
they were just from all over, and that really fucked me up. It really, I'll be 100% like I would go home and just sleep to just not pay attention, or to hear it. We had to shut off our phone at the shop. We have thousands of emails, saying all these.
Do you
awful
still
things.
get hate from them?
It's been a while, but it's once in a blue moon.
I'm sure you'll get something.
I mean, we got physical letters in the mail.
Oh, yeah.
From like older people. There's like, "I can't believe you did this. You are not American." This, that, the other thing.
What'd your parents say?
Laughed. They laughed.
Yeah.
And they were absolutely terrified for me.
I bet.
Because
it would be interesting.
We live in a very terrifying world, and I was seriously terrified that I was going to be followed
There's people
or
that are
hurt.
like I mean, I don't know. There's some fucked up stuff that's going on now, and like it definitely. Again, back to the Anthony Bourdain quote about certainty. Like if I'll have conversations with people, and this is a whole different road that we won't even go down. But like for instance, let's say 9/11 would bring brought up or something like that. It's just like the people that like won't even listen to anything. Like is what really like fucks me up. It's like I want to just like meet and talk to people who are like just good people that are, you know, that you can just like talk with. Just fucking like kind of connect with. But I mean, I don't know. I didn't even think about all like the national hate.
Oh, it was seriously like if I sat down and thought about it and really had the time to really talk about this to somebody, like I can go very deep into everything that happened and like how we felt and how we were attacked. And, you know, honestly, that was not the intention of the whole thing. Our intention was to do another daily funny post of something that we do, and we're a metal alternative weird coffee shop, and you know it blew up to that caliber, and we didn't expect that to happen. But in the end, it was very positive. The positivity outweighed the hate, but the hate lingered, it stuck with me more than the positivity. But it definitely outshined in the end. If you look at our Facebook, Black Forge Coffee House, you can see like we were at a perfect 5-star like before that shit happened. Now we're at a 3.4. We have over 2,000 5-star reviews and about 1,000 1-star reviews, and there's a couple in between.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's another thing that I was going to bring up. I was like, people that are just have like the platform to just go give your shit 1 star without even being there. Like, I mean, like they don't know, like that's like your livelihood.
And Facebook wouldn't do anything. I tried deleting them. I asked them, you know, to look into it. They didn't do anything. The only people that took it seriously were Google and Yelp. Yeah. They looked at it and they're like, we're seeing really crazy heavy activity, and we're seeing it from people that are not in Pennsylvania. And they were like, oh. And they deleted all the ones that were like,
that's awesome that they did that.
They shit in my coffee, or un-American fucks and blah, 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 blah.
Did you ever have any physical things that were done to like your, like the shop or anything?
No, because all of that negative shit was not in Pittsburgh. It was all outside.
I bet. I mean, at least
like,
nothing
there were
crazy
a couple
happened.
people that were our customers previously that wrote to us. They're like, I'm never coming in again. That's so un-American of you. And we're like, we're sorry, dude.
Yeah, keep it.
I hope your life is awesome. That's it. Like, that's all I can say. And, you know, it was really, I think the hardest thing of all of that was not responding back to these people.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, someone went on there and said that we were pedophiles. And I was like, are you what? Yeah. That right there is the most fucked up situation.
People fear the unknown. They see you have purple hair and you have a septum piercing and tattoos, and people are like, "Oh,
I'm
you're like
a fat colored or hair colored pig."
My mom was never into tattoos, so like she was very judgmental and things like that. And then I always told her whenever I was younger, I was like, I'm gonna get tattoos, and she was like, you'll be kicked out of the house. Then I got my first tattoo whenever I was 18. I got it on the inside of my lip so I could hide it. She found out she liked it more than me even. She was telling everyone that I got it done, and now she loves she loves my tattoos, and
That's
it's just
great.
like but it takes like the reason that she likes them is because I'm her son, and like I had to like force her to like it.
Right.
If people don't ever have an obligation to like get that initial like thought rolling, it's just going to be the same old shit that they've been thinking of their entire life.
Exactly.
And it's a shame because it's like there's people like I definitely like I had ideas about you too. Like I didn't know like if you guys were like Satanists or whatever. I had no idea how this conversation was going to come, but like it's just like I see you on Instagram, and like I see like I usually feel that I'm a good judge of character. Yeah. People post their life on social media, and it's just like I feel that I'm good at reading through the bullshit and like the fake stuff, and it's like you seem like a normal person. It's like I like what you guys do because it's different. I work for a local business on the weekends. Like I work for a clothing store. It's a boutique in Southside. It's just privately owned. So like I like supporting the whole local movement of everything. It's like even though there's some places down south side that I cannot fuck with as far as their coffee. Just ain't good.
Yeah, no, I'll preach that. But again, I am a full supporter of every like local business out there, especially, you know.
Do you hate Starbucks coffee?
I personally do not like their coffee, and I've tried their coffee. Like every once in a while, you know, those frozen matcha drinks that they have.
Yeah.
I'll fucking treat myself to that shit.
Yeah, fuck it.
Fuck it, whatever.
You own the business. You own your business, so it doesn't matter.
I go out with a band on the weekends, and like it's hard sometimes when we're in certain cities that we're not near a local coffee shop. Because not every place has a neighborhood coffee shop.
So you got to do what you got to do.
So we stop at a Starbucks, and I'll try so hard to drink. I just want dark roast. Like I like drinking dark roast black.
Have you had?
And it gives me heartburn, and I can't handle it.
That's because it's like crack cocaine.
It's disgusting.
Have you had their nitro cold brew?
Mm-mm.
Honestly, it's just like one of the most delicious things I've ever had. And
really?
I don't get it because like their fucking regular coffee is hit or miss. It's either really burnt tasting, or it's like I like all dark roast. Like I like dark roast, and before I was never a big coffee guy. You know, like I said, I was like into the foo-foo, like the glass bottle Starbucks mochas that you would get, and it's be like 80 grams of sugar, but like
I never drink those. I don't drink energy drinks. I don't do
really
any of that crap. Oh fuck no.
Yeah,
I remember when I was a teenager, I really liked Rockstar, but I can't drink Monsters or Red Bulls.
I don't like carbonation. The only energy drink I'll usually fuck with now is like the Monster Rehab every once in a while because it's like a tea with no carbonation. It's still terrible for you. It all got to be terrible for you. But yeah, I mean, coffee now it's just like it's part of. Me and my wife will go like if we travel anywhere. It's like we're always trying.
It's a ritual. It's
exactly. You start it up in the morning.
Coffee brings people together, and
do you smoke cigarettes still?
Yes.
See, whenever I smoke cigarettes, they go together like fucking peanut butter and jelly.
Rough, because I actually quit smoking for a good bit there. It was several months, and then we started working on Black Forge. And the stress got to me, and I couldn't handle it, and I was smoking so much. But I've been very truthful to myself. Like I will quit smoking when I'm ready, and like the one thing that helps keep me together is my morning coffee and cigarette. You know, that's what keeps me.
That's the only thing that
in the
I
morning
miss.
At 6 a.m. when I'm getting ready to open up this coffee
That's
shop.
literally the only thing I miss is getting in my car, putting on a jam.
Yep, smoking a cigarette,
and having a coffee on my way to wherever I need to be.
Damn
and
right.
Like, that's or a coffee in the morning, like waking up. Like it's same thing, but it's just those are the only times I ever miss it. I haven't smoked for like 4 years now.
Good for you, dude.
But like you said, it was about whenever I wanted to quit. People would tell me 100 times. I used to literally throw my mother's cigarettes away whenever I was younger. Mm-hmm. And just like flush them down the toilet. You know, I was just such a fucking asshole. And then I started smoking. Mm-hmm. Smoked for like 7 years. And then like I just kind of got tired of it and like just quit one day.
Yeah, good for you. I mean, I go days without smoking sometimes. It's mainly my most stressful days that I smoke.
I definitely understand it though. I understand it.
And that's the thing, like with entrepreneurship too. Well, I mean, with virtually anybody that just works and like you're nonstop.
You need a second. That's your break.
Like Nick, he finds his free time to climb and do all this stuff. Like I was climbing, I was going to the gym for a while, but I also, I'm a lighting designer on the side, and like I do a lot of outside work and everything. And I had to stop going to the gym because also, as an entrepreneur, we don't make fucking any money.
Yeah.
The sacrifices that maybe one day this will all pay off, and hopefully down the line, I can just live comfortably enough to pay my bills and be like, cool.
That's the goal, right?
Like I don't ever want to be rich. I don't need to have more than one vehicle. I don't need to go on fancy vacations.
Exactly.
I don't like going on planes. Like
I don't need a fucking big house. Like I'd be happy with a house this size. It's I literally want to just be able to pay my bills. Mm-hmm. I'm all good with working my ass off 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I work now 2 jobs. I've been doing it for years. And it's just like, I don't mind hard work. I just want to be able to wake up, work hard for myself, and pay the bills. Exactly.
And it's rewarding and stressful and painful and exhausting.
It's glorious, though. It's rewarding.
It is. And, when I have those moments to not be thinking about all the stressful things that I have to think about, I take time to myself to thank myself for what I'm doing. And it's really important is to be aware of yourself and the good things that you do. I think a lot of people don't do that enough for themselves, and they fall into these spirals and
I agree.
get depressed. And I think that's really important, especially again, for small business people. It's super important to be proud of yourself for what you do and to understand that, like,
you got to be proud of your work.
I just talked about this quote yesterday, and I haven't brought it up for a while, but I work with this sound engineer, Luke, who's like one of the sound guys at Mr. Smalls, and he's toured with like DJ Shadow and like done huge tours, and like he is just like this awesome blonde-haired metal sound guy who's always positive and easygoing. And I remember right before I started giving up lighting originally, I was having a really hard time like just being happy at work, and I was like, I gotta do something, and I fucking don't want to do this today. And he turned to me and said, just think about it. Every single day when you do a show, you are making a difference in one person's life. Just one. Could be 5, but there's at least one. At
least one person
that is paying attention to what you're doing, what we are all doing, what the music is doing, and we are making a staple in that memory that they will carry on for the rest of their lives. And I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, it's heavy shit.
Right?
Super
and like
heavy.
It's deeper than that, but like I just told this yesterday to another person in a band when we were talking about stuff, and like it still sticks to me. And that's what I think about. Like, I am that person for somebody every morning. When they wake up, they come in for their cup of coffee. If I'm not smiling, if I'm not, happy and proud and excited to be a part of their day, I could fucking ruin it.
Yeah, it might start their day off wrong.
Exactly. And I'm
guilty of that though. Like I have like I don't know, like I definitely have like mood swings and shit.
Oh yeah, I do
It's
too.
Like, some days people say I'm just like miserable some days. Yeah. Ain't even about that really. It's just like some people just fucking rub me the wrong way.
Oh yeah.
And it just starts the ball rolling down the wrong side of the hill.
I'm 100% that way, and that's luckily again when you own your own small business and you're that person to those people, it changes. It's
at least
different.
You don't have a fucking puppet master above you, just like
exactly. And that's why it's different, because I've told people, get the fuck out of our coffee shop. I've told people, like, you're being rude as shit. It just happened last week. Like, this kid came in and we were having a really important meeting.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey man, what's up? I'll be with you in just a second. I need to finish my sentence so I didn't forget.
Yeah.
And he's like, is somebody gonna help me? And I looked at him like, really? Okay, guys, hold on. Let us stop this conversation.
Yeah.
I threw my phone and my pen and my notebook on the fucking counter, walked over, and I was like, what can I get you?
Yeah.
And he's like, coffee. I'm like, okay. So I start pouring his coffee, and he's just like looking around. I turn to him like, you're rude as fuck. Do you know that? You're being rude as shit, and I don't appreciate you. He's like, I am rude. I'm like, yeah, okay, here's your coffee. And he paid in quarters, so he handed me the quarters. And he started walking away to the cream bar. And I was like, oh, just so you know, don't fucking come back here. You're not allowed. Yeah. So he came back over. He's like, I don't want this crappy cup of coffee anyways. I was like, okay, cool. Here's your money back. So I just put 1 quarter by 1 on the counter. And he's just like...
yeah, sliding it over.
And then he left. And I was like, okay, that's out of my system. Let's go. And... I don't feel bad about that.
No, because you can't feel bad about that. It's
every person that walks in that door, I'm like, if I'm in the middle of something, and it's hard for people to understand. That's why, if someone kind of gets the wrong attitude at first, I'm like, they don't understand that I may be the owner and I'm doing something.
Yeah, and it sucks.
So I try to slightly explain it so they understand, because, I don't want them to feel unwelcomed.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel like shit about something. And
some people just don't fucking... It sucks whenever you're a good person and you hope that other people share the same,
and they don't,
respect level that you have,
and they never will.
They know, and it's just, I mean, everyone's different. They don't. Like, I work at that clothing store on Sundays. I work every single Sunday by myself. It's 12 to 6. Some days it's fucking slow. Some days it's fucking insane where I'm running up and down to get these clothes, and it's like we'll have 4 different customers in there, and I'm just like, listen, guys, like, I'm sorry, I'm one person, like, just like chill, enjoy the music and just relax.
And honestly, that is a wonderful thing about our customers. So like with Black Forge, we host, these shows and these pop-up brunches and all this stuff. And sometimes we have lines out the door.
Yeah.
But we ourselves are still not at a point where we can have more than our 2 employees that we have there. So sometimes there's 1 employee at a time, and it sucks. And then we get a line out the door.
Yeah, because there's
honestly, our customers are aware of that because we are such...
And that's
whatever they want us to be to them. They wait in line, they're super loyal, and they're super awesome, and they're like, hey man, no worries, looks like you're super busy today.
I think that times nowadays are benefiting because like you have like them like whether it be like a food truck or like a coffee shop or like like the Onion Maiden or whatever. I've seen people wait in lines for years for their fucking chocolates and stuff. It's like people realize what they're getting. Like,
and it is such a cool thing to see too. Is like people so what I've seen in a lot of our regular customers is like this is a part of their day and something they look forward to is like waiting in that line and feeling they're going to be a part of something and having that connection with one of us and like sitting down and having their drink that we talk about and I want you to tell me how you feel about it. Or if you have ideas about drinks, like we are very involved with our customers and
it's nice whenever people aren't fucking assholes,
right? And it's just
treat
we're
people
all just
how you want to
like
be treated.
Super chill, love metal, like to smoke weed, hang out.
These aren't bad people at all, but everyone just has like they just judge books,
right? That's why I'm really glad there's people like you, and there's just a ton of people that are just like, please let us like get this out there and talk to these people who might be intimidating or might be this or that. I'm a really good person. I am so sentimental and I cry, like I said, every damn day because I have feelings and I feel hurt or I feel joy or whatever because, again, what you put in life is what you'll get out of it. And I believe being emotionally attached to the things that you want and the people that you love is a very important...
you have to feel vulnerable.
Exactly. And I'm a very vulnerable person.
Yeah, like it's like you have to I put myself out there, always have. Like even in high school with like relationships and stuff, it's like, I mean, if you can't put yourself out there like 100%, like what is the point? Like
exactly.
I don't know.
Why are you...
Like this podcast, I do this for myself mainly. Yeah. It's like I do this for myself because it's like I like to learn things. Like I like to know about random shit. Like I knew that you had to have an interesting life. You guys opened this fucking crazy coffee shop. Like, so I mean, like the reason I do this is just so people like could sit there and listen in their fucking corporate job behind a desk or wherever they are and like and realize that like things aren't like as out of the picture as possible as you think, you know what I mean? So it's like people just gotta fucking want it, and if they want it enough, they make shit happen. Like no matter what happens to me, if I lose my job tomorrow, like I'm gonna be fine. Exactly. I'm gonna make some shit happen.
And that's I think about that too because I am a pessimist. Like if everything failed with Black Forge and something happened, I'd be like, I'm just glad that I did that.
Yeah, it's a good chapter. I made a clothing line, failed. Like it was just like, but that whenever I think of my book, that's a chapter in my book.
Yeah.
And whether it be 3 chapters or 4 chapters or even 1, like that's
part of your story, man.
Yeah, I've done it.
And
it's cool.
And that's a really special thing for people to think about stuff that way and like dig into what is life. Because there are a lot of people that just walk around blindly, just like, oh, life is life, and this is my job, and this is my cat, and this is my dog. And like zombies. That's cool. If that is what makes you happy and makes you tick, go about it, dude. But like for me, I look at everything with a microscope and I dig into it and I learn.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm a genuinely like curious person. I didn't pay attention enough in school, and like things just interest me now. Now I just find myself watching like just a bunch of cooking shows. I just like learning some things. Like I listen to majority of podcasts because like, like I could listen to the same fucking CD over and over again and it's just going to be the same music and tones. But like podcasts, like even if it's a comedian's podcast or something like this, you're always going to be able to like pick something up from that. And like that Anthony Bourdain quote from his podcast on Mark Maron, like it seriously like fucked with my head because that's everything that I believe in. It's like I fear certainty. I don't understand how people can't just like be willing to have a conversation and just see what they think about it.
Exactly, because you might gain a new friend or a new experience out of it or something.
Absolutely.
Or you might not gain anything. What's the point of living if you're not going to have a little excitement in your life and you're not going to try,
I appreciate that for sure.
And, that's how I look at my life and how I look at our business is like, just try.
Yeah.
Try it out. See if it works. If it doesn't work, move on to the next. Like, Black Forge is a wonderful thing that has brought out a lot of things in me and has made me understand a lot of things and has helped me build back to the person I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Because, as I said before, it's just like, I've been in very dark places and I've been in very depressed places. I've been in very angry places.
Yeah.
And now that I'm still teetering because there's so much in our lives that we're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but there's still something there that's like...
It is. And it is the drive of knowing that maybe something that I did today
made someone else's
feel
day better.
Yeah, exactly.
It's perfect.
That's what keeps me going. I might be some scary, like, goth metal fucking Satanist chick, but, like, I got a heart, and I care what I put out in the world.
What's next for the whole coffee shop? Like, what do you guys got planned?
Oh, shit. All right. So, we are currently... have been in this situation for a little while. So our landlords at our coffee shop are actually really awesome.
Okay.
They're these guys, Josh and Jared. The one lives in the neighborhood. He's super cool. And they really helped us out with getting this spot together. And originally. And, we were like, oh, yeah, we're going to host shows or comedy or this or that. They're like, cool, that's awesome. Well, then we started doing 15 to 20 shows a month.
Yeah.
And we have 2 apartments above us.
Oh, yeah.
The people that lived right above us would complain all the time. And we're just like, this is what we do, man. That's why we're here. We're a small venue, and we're an art space, and we're a community space, and we do all this stuff because this is what makes us happy. We have a noise curfew that we follow, especially being next to the police station. Like, the police, I mean, there are good people and bad people, and that's all I'm going to fucking say about that.
Yeah, for sure.
But they even have never harassed one of our customers, never been in the way, never threatened anybody, never came in and yelled at us about anything besides parking, obviously. So, we follow strict noise curfews just because we want to be a friend of the neighborhood, not a foe.
Yeah.
And honestly, no one has ever complained about the things that we do. But... our landlords told us that the kids above us moved out because they couldn't handle the noise anymore.
Yeah.
And they were like, you got to figure it out. And we're like, okay, well, we'll try. And then 8 months happened where that space was unrented above us. And they're like, you got to figure it out because, like, we want you guys here. We want you to be successful, but we cannot run our business like this. And we're like, business person. I fucking understand that.
Yeah.
We are really going to try and get a second location going because we need to. We want to grow anyways and also respect them for like the work that they've done with us and helped us out. And we want to respect the people that live above us because they patronize us.
Absolutely.
And all in all, just respect from everybody and to everybody. But it got to the point where they were like really pressuring us. They're like, you got to stop doing music. Like you gotta dim it down, maybe have a couple shows a week, but you can't do this all the time because yeah, even though we have somebody living above us now and there are a bunch of younger kids that are into music and blah, 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 blah. But what if they move out next year?
Yeah, no one's going to want to like...
Exactly. And he's like, I can't do this again. He's like, I've lost X amount of money and I can't afford it. And I'm like, I understand, dude. And I respect you telling us this. And there was a scare there that like, we're going to have to start paying more money to make up for that loss because I'm just like, I don't know what to do. But luckily those kids moved in. But they also come down and they're like, dude, it's fucking loud.
Yeah.
Like, luckily they work night jobs, but they don't work night jobs every day.
Yeah, for sure.
So
not every day you want to hear all that shit.
And they're still really pressuring us like, please, like, stop. Dim it down, do something. We're just like, fuck, I understand. I don't want to piss you off anymore. So that's really stressful because they depend on us to figure this out. And we're like, we're going to figure this out and we're going to build our company because we want to do these things. So we're in jeopardy of all this crap. And we started looking at buildings all over the city. Wilkinsburg, Etna, Sharpsburg, Millvale, Bloomfield, Garfield, everywhere.
Yeah.
And nothing was big enough, small enough, this, that, the other thing, too expensive, shithole,
Yeah.
not in the right neighborhood. Because, like, our biggest thing is, like, again, we want to build communities. We don't want to put anyone in a situation where they might lose business or anything. We want to work together in a community, this, that, the other thing. So, obviously, our goal, not to open up in another neighborhood that has a coffee shop. Fuck that. I am not going to step on anybody's toes because that is so important.
That's respectable.
That's just how Nick and I are. Like, we've gotten so much support, so we're going to continue that support in other ways.
Yeah.
And not ever do that to somebody that's fucked up.
That's true.
So, yeah, we finally, after months, find this building in McKees Rocks,
Okay.
Pennsylvania. And it's fucking perfect.
Oh, yeah?
It's perfect. It's an old bank building that was the food bank in that neighborhood, but the food bank's moving down the street to another space. So this building is up for sale. And as a small business, you have to get to a point where you can buy a fucking building. Because literally, like, our biggest struggle is, like, we don't own anything.
Yeah.
Everything we have was donated or we bought for...
Yeah, and so you're just paying money to
Right.
something you don't have.
So we approached some lenders and we're like, we're 3 years in business now and we have grown 50% consistently every year. Even our account person who does our tax, she's like, this doesn't happen. Like, this is awesome. This
That's
is really
good.
good. Granted, realistically, like, as a business, we're not making that much money.
Yeah.
But we're able to pay our bills in, the first 2 years of being open without going into the negatives and, like, not pulling out from our pockets.
Yeah, that's good.
And we were able to hire 2 employees. We have a graphic designer and an event calendar manager. So we're able to pay these people. And Nick and I'll be 100% honest, like, we don't pay ourselves anything, really.
Yeah.
That's why we work so much at our other jobs to make up for that. And that's why we're so stressed out all the time. Because it's like, okay, we work at our coffee shop and then we go work our other job. It's every day, every other day. Like, I know personally that I cannot continue to live my life like this anymore.
Yeah.
And I know Nick feels the same way. And for us to get out of that rut, we need to open up a second location to better our company, to better our lives, to better our employees' lives, to better another community, to better Allentown community.
Yeah.
And to better this local music scene. Like, we are so dedicated.
So that's the next chapter.
That is the next chapter.
Is that what the email was about?
It is what the email's about. If you are a Black Forge subscriber to our email list, you received some news today.
It's definitely not today. It was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
So
but now you're listening to this, and now you can be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, everyone knows what's going on now. But this all happened in real time today.
Yeah, real time today. I'm having a lot of stress today. That's why I had him grab me a ginger ale.
Ginger ale for what's
Makes
in the
me
cup.
feel better. Today we released a Kickstarter to fund this idea of us keeping our music venue and moving it to a larger location because we cannot continue to operate as a music venue in the location that we're at now.
Now, where can people find this?
So if you go onto Kickstarter, you go to Black Forge Coffee House, or you can go to our website, which is blackforgecoffee.com, or our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It will be posted all over those things.
Yeah, and I'll put everything in this description below as well.
Awesome, dude. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we made a Kickstarter. We filmed yesterday, and the lovely friends of ours that work at Hardwire TV filmed it, did the audio, created this 2.5-3 minute video for us in 24 hours, and we released it at 4:00.
That's awesome.
And the last several months have been stressful, but the last couple of weeks and days have been even worse. But yeah, we released a Kickstarter, and we are looking to fund $30,000 to get the rest of the funding that we need to make this project work. Because even though we are working with traditional/non-traditional lenders, they will only lend us so much because they still think that our project is too risky, especially in a underdeveloped neighborhood, just like we heard before, and blah 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 blah,
which is understandable.
And again, as a business person, I get it, but like, how do you think all these other businesses started?
Yeah,
without giving somebody a chance?
You gotta roll the dice. You gotta roll the dice.
And like, our Allentown location is the perfect example of like, we can do this. I know that we can do this because what we're offering is a gap filler in so many areas in this city, as a local gallery, as a local music spot,
Absolutely.
as a coffee shop, as a community builder, as a place that you can bring your grandma and grandpa to for Sunday brunch or something, you know? Like, these are the things that we want to do. And in this location, we're going to start roasting our own coffee so we can do more collaborations and, like, you know, be in control of our product, create new awesome things, let our graphic designer be more creative with what he wants to do.
Yeah.
We're hiring another person, so we're creating another job with hiring a roaster that is already a dedicated roaster.
That's awesome.
You know, we have a kitchen in that space. We're going to start making our own damn food and, like, making pastries. But obviously, you know, even though we already support local and we'll be making our own stuff, we're still going to carry some of their products. Because
Absolutely.
you're going to keep that relationship. And I love those people, and they are the reasons why we're here.
And people like that stuff too. Like, people probably go there for that reason. They love those pastries.
You know, a couple of pastries we want to introduce. We're still going to carry 350. Same with our coffee. Like, Zeke's created our first homebrew coffee, you know. Obviously, we're going to still carry those because those are classics. Those are favorites. That's what we make our cold brew with. Like, I ain't getting rid of that recipe.
Yeah, for sure.
Months, like, to, like, figure it out and trigger it, because that's what we're known for, is our cold brew.
Yeah.
And, you know, same with the people that we work with for our food and jerky and everything. Like, we're still going to carry some of their products.
That's dope.
It's just, you know, for us to be what we want to be and to be as creative as we can be, we got to do it ourselves.
And you got to. That's the best way to do it.
I want to make some pentagram pizzas for lunch every day, you know? Like, I want that to be a readily available thing that you can be like, I want to go to Blackford's because they have pentagram pizzas every
That's funny.
day.
That's smart. That's a good business move.
Right? Like, we just want to keep it, like, vibing with what we have and create new, cool, niche-y things, but also still being a humble, awesome, good quality coffee shop.
Absolutely.
You know? And
how long is this Kickstarter run till?
Is only for 30 days.
30 days.
It is.
So everyone needs to just go on there and donate money.
This is a very crazy Hail Mary attempt, and we are putting all these eggs in this basket, and I know that we shouldn't do that. But, you know, sometimes you just gotta roll the dice. You just gotta do it. And that's what we're doing, and I feel a lot of things.
So we're going to see how this is once this, we're going to touch back once this airs.
Oh, my goodness. I'm super excited, but.
So I do this segment at the end of every podcast. I ask everyone, it's called Desert Island Questions.
Oh, God.
It's from The Office, whenever Jim asks everyone about the Desert Island Questions. So this is what I do to, like, kind of, like, wrap things up. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, we talked about where you came from. We talked about the type of job you have, the type of person you are. But these are, like, kind of like bonus questions that I personally feel that I could learn from people. And people that listen to this always tell me that they love this segment anyway. So Desert Island Questions, everyone that doesn't know, I give 3 categories. You get 3 choices for each category to take with you on a desert island. So the first category is 3 movies to take with you on a desert island to watch over and over and over again.
Over and over and over again. All right. 1. Does it have to be one Star Wars movie, or can it be all?
It could be all of them.
Okay, so all the Star Wars, obviously. Okay. My second one would be Little Nicky.
Oh man, that's a good one.
That was a movie that I fell asleep to almost every night.
That's so good.
And
Cassius hit me in the face with a shovel.
You're making the Lord very nervous.
Yeah, that's such a good movie. It's so underrated.
And I absolutely adore that movie. And another movie that I would bring. Oh shit, that's hard.
It is hard. That's why I ask it. Like Little Nicky, that's such a good answer.
Yeah, like that one always sticks out to me. I love it so much. But I would probably have to say Toy Story.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
I love Toy Story. It's a very mellow, loving, children's story, but also has a lot of powerful moments in it.
Super powerful.
And like it really, I watched the movie all the time when I was a kid too, and I have it on the side of my DVD player.
I have so many Disney movies in there.
If I could just say all the Disney movies, like I would bring all of them. I wish I could say a fourth, but my neighbor Totoro. Like I'm a huge.
Oh, I know what Totoro is.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Totoro is my.
I was a
my thing.
I was a big Disney person. That's where my clothing line came from. It was called
That's
Lost
awesome.
Boys. It's
That's
from
awesome.
Peter Pan, and I just love Disney movies. Okay, second category. Do you read?
I do, but like I'm not like a
that's
dedicated like
okay,
book
that's
reader.
fine because I always have a. So you said you played video games growing up.
Yes.
3 video games.
Super Mario,
Okay.
Earthworm Jim,
Oh wow, that was a good
Crash
one.
Bandicoot.
See, no one has said Crash Bandicoot on here. That was one of my favorites, and I'm not a video game guy, but like
Crash Bandicoot's my
GoldenEye,
jam.
GoldenEye, Mario Kart, Crash Bandicoot,
Yep.
1080 snowboarding, and Tony Hawk, probably my favorites.
Yeah.
But okay, so you got the Crash Band, or you got the video games. Last category is no, I'm interested about this one. 3 albums, 3 musical, 3 CDs.
Oh man.
Got to be a hard question for you.
No, that's really hard. All right. So, can I just say a band and I can just pick any album?
Yeah.
All right.
You could pick 3 bands, and that'll.
Okay. Good enough. I can kind of narrow that down, but it's still really hard.
I bet.
I would have to pick Sleep.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar.
Third Man Records. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I love the dynamics in their music, especially in how, in the sense, it all ties together and remains somewhat the same. Mm-hmm. It's also very meditative, very relaxing.
I actually just got put onto them not
Really
long ago.
nice. Yeah, I am a huge fan of Sleep. Another band
I like the other Sleep.
would be Rob Zombie, Hellbilly Deluxe.
Jeez, that's so good.
That was my favorite album growing up. For sure.
Dragula is an ongoing theme with me and my friends.
Yeah.
Dragula the whole time.
Oh man, I love that fucking album. It was so good.
Yeah, I mean, like he's a wild one. The only thing that Rob Zombie ever put out that I fucking hated was Halloween 2
Yeah, I hated
with
that.
the white horse. Like I'm a movie guy. That was one of the only movies that I've ever walked out of. I was like, bro, I'm done with it.
I was not a fan of
Very
that movie
excited for the new
at all.
Halloween. I like
Oh,
the
I am
first
too.
Halloween.
Yeah,
that
the first
made.
Halloween crushed it.
Yeah, he was good with that, but that horse and shit, too much
Yeah.
for me.
I didn't like it.
Okay, so you said Rob Zombie. You said Sleep.
Oh, last one. Oh shit. Who is a big influencer for me? I would have to say, honestly, I'm going to say, I'll just go back to the album situation because I can't even. Green Day Dookie, for sure.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
That was a good one for sure.
That was my blast to a more positive, like Ashley as an artsy kid, like, yeah, rebellion, fucking Green Day Dookie, there's like a poop explosion happening on the album. Like I loved it. It was so great.
I loved old Green Day. Whenever American Idiot came out, I couldn't.
I hated American Idiot.
Yeah, I couldn't.
That was my first Green Day concert was when they toured with the American Idiot album. And I thought it was a really great experience because that is a cornerstone in the punk, like newer punk, poppy punk thing happening where we're starting to recognize politics even more.
I agree with that.
And no, that show I remember like the back of my fucking hand. So,
that's good. I mean,
I still hated the album though.
I agree with that. I mean, I think that I didn't like it. If we were a little bit older, I might have liked it, but like, I don't know. Just I was tired of hearing about it. I didn't want to hear about more shit that I heard about in school.
Yeah.
But okay, so we got those 3 Desert Island questions. This is a new question that I'm incorporating. You're actually the first person.
Okay, bring
that's
it
gonna
on.
be on there. Death Row Meal.
Death Row Meal.
Yeah.
Chicken and waffles.
Chicken and waffles.
And a side of mac and cheese.
That's perfect. That's a fucking perfect answer.
Yeah, no, chicken and waffles is my fucking jam. Like, there's only one place in Pittsburgh that has crushed chicken and waffles.
What is it?
Piper's Pub.
Oh,
That is
love
the
it.
best fucking chicken and waffles in
They
the whole
got
goddamn
almost
city.
the best of everything.
Because a lot of places do like chicken wings and like no, that
venison shepherd's pie from Piper's Pub is probably my favorite meal in the city. Okay, and then the last question that I ask everyone is if you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be?
Oh shit.
Ain't it a crazy question?
That's too hard, man.
Some people. I mean, you don't have to think too far into it. My first guest, his answer was Randy Marsh. Some people said Mufasa, or some people said Scar. He wanted to know why the fuck he killed Mufasa.
Right.
People just have random answers. The last guy, you familiar with Streets on Carson?
Yeah.
The owner of that, he was on my podcast last week. His dad passed away. He obviously said his dad. My grandfather would be my answer. But
I mean, honestly, and I'll be 100% truthful, I would say my grandfather that passed away right before I was born. My dad's dad, he also worked at Kodak. Fucking took care of my dad, took care of my grandmother, and he was, I only have photos of him, Polaroids.
I know, it's fucked up.
And he was super handsome, very well put together, and like I hear stories of, all the stuff that he did, and I'm just like, man.
Yeah, it's the hardest thing to hear stories and not be able to
Right. All I have are these Polaroid photos, and that's it. And I have no idea if you would be proud of me or like what you would be doing now. Like,
it would just be cool to be able to talk to someone whenever you're put together.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, whenever you become an adult.
Obviously, like him and my grandmother are the reason why my dad the way he is, and like my dad and my grandmother are both fucking awesome, especially my dad. So I would love to have learned
where that came
from. So I definitely say my grandfather, Kenneth Corts, for sure.
Those are all good answers. Well, I really appreciate you coming and talking to me.
Hey man, thank you for asking me. I know we've been trying to do this for a while, and I hope whatever nonsense I said is some sort of insight for somebody out there.
Absolutely. This is such a good podcast. Like I said, I never have any preconceived notions about like how they're going to go, because like some people that I think that are going to go great don't go that well. And some people that are going, some people that I think aren't going to go that well go great. Like you never know with people.
Right.
So go ahead, take anytime you want and plug anything you want. Like your coffee shop, your Instagram, whatever.
So yeah, like you can follow me personally on Instagram at Ashley Bianca BFCH. You can follow exactly what we do on Black Forge. It's Black Forge PGH. I own Black Forge Coffee House, the website, blackforgecoffee.com. This is all super easy to remember. If you just type in Black Forge, you'll find
anything.
I'll
put it all in the description too.
Also, feel free to add me on Facebook. I'm always, down for anyone to shoot me a message if you want to talk about something, if you need help with something, if you want to talk about opening up a small business. Like, that's what I live for. I want to help people accomplish everything that they want to be. And I am always open for a conversation, having a cup of coffee. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
It's a very good
man.
episode.
Thanks, dude.
Everyone else, follow me on social media on Facebook, I'll Call You Right Back Podcast, Instagram at I'll Call You Right Back, Twitter at ICYRB Podcast, or you could email me at I'll Call You Right Back at Gmail. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me if there's some people that you think I should have on here as guests. Call me a piece of shit. Whatever you want to do. Just throw me an email and give me some feedback. I appreciate everyone listening, and I'll call you right back.